In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of Auralic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce cards, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
Ooh, the slow roll of that.
Sometimes we get a little behind on our traditional show starting tradition.
Yeah.
Did I say traditional tradition?
Traditional tradition.
That makes it very traditional.
It's tough, like if we have hockey or something afterwards. I mean, I don't want to have a cider then, you know. How about be 110% ready?
Before hockey?
Yeah, I'm not
You
one
don't like
of
to
the,
have one before just to get loops?
I think it brings you down, man.
I've seen a
I
couple
know
of your
I don't
teammates
have the same hustle.
Struggling with that.
Yeah.
Well, you knew my
weeks ago.
technique.
What, just relax and wait for a breakaway? No back check? Yeah.
Long shift, no back check.
It's like, oh, it went past me.
I think Carlo breaks that rule, because he will back check and have the Coors Light before game.
He's kind of a machine.
Well, I would just hit the vape pen like all the way from like International to O'Malley. And that was it. And I knew that was a perfect little window. Right when the game starts, you're just kind of highly focused.
When you can nail the you can nail the high.
Yeah.
It's
because you can go too far.
Oh, you can
and
go
you're
too
fucked.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like it like basketball. I think I play basketball way better when I'm high.
Yeah.
One of our best players, he had
Snowboarding it's a touchy thing too, though. Snowboarding, like you can be like, damn it, went too far.
Yeah.
Now I'm right.
You're catching edge.
Not in the zone.
Just not in it.
Yeah. Big consequences there with that edge.
It's nice before a workout too.
Oh, well, I would do it
if you're
before
trying to do
PT
some-
straight up. Like I didn't do it like the first like 12 times I went, and I just wasn't able to relax. But a lot of times when if I smoke weed, I focus heavily on the pain versus like being able to relax. And so one time I was like, you know what, I haven't been able to relax, and he's trying to like push my knee down, and it's like the worst pain, and just like you have to relax, you know?
Yeah.
And everything in your body's telling you don't let him do this, you know? And so one day I was like, I'm just going to try. This could be bad. This could be good. And it was like the best thing I could have did. He's like, whoa, what'd you do, man? Like, I'm able to like get this thing down. You're like, I was like, look at my eyes. So then he's like, all right, you got to do that every time, you know?
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it could be very effective for PT. Some people love it for the gym. I am not that person.
You just got to do a little
I could do it at something like Elite or like the F45s or maybe a CrossFit or something.
Okay.
But like if I was to like smoke and then go to a gym, dude, we will be on one machine the whole time.
Telling you, man.
Walk around, try to find another machine, be like, nope, none of that looks fun. Right back to, we're just going to do this one all day.
Yeah, and I was
that's what happened to me.
I was angling toward like a guy putting that in his regimen.
But if someone was
know what I
telling
mean?
me what to do, I could probably
And you
see
can't
it.
do it like right before you go in. This is like in the morning, you're having your coffee, you dose however you're going to dose, and then you're going in 20 minutes fully in your bloodstream. You do your warm up, you do your cardio. By the time you hit the weights, you're just
you want to hit it on that
focused
back bell curve,
Yeah,
you know, on the back of it.
And I think a
You don't
guy
want to go in just like, it's hitting.
Well, and then the post recovery process, like your steam or whatever you're doing, you know what I mean? It's all coming down at the same time. So I feel like there's some benefits there, and I imagine there's probably some science behind it if you really went deep into it.
We went on the Snowcat yesterday at
Dude Week.
Yeah, Chudiak Powder Guides. Shout out to them because they did a phenomenal job again. But we went last year, and it was like pretty much identical weather. Like, kind of got a trace of new snow to refresh it, and then like sort of broken up blue sky, but then that fog layer low.
Yeah.
So you were like trying to stay above the fog layer, but you know how it breathes out there. So you're like, sometimes you're in it and sometimes you weren't. But we, I wasn't drinking with those boys this week. So, but they,
Not at all?
no, they didn't.
Full sober?
Yeah.
Good for you.
They didn't get any beer. And so Nate was like, we got to stop the Merc. I was like, dude, they don't sell beer till 10 a.m., bro. Anywhere. I don't care where you're at. You can go to the Merc all you want. And he was like, shit. And then it turned out, I guess where I'm going with this is last year we had a ton of beer on there, and everyone's crushing beers. You know, and there's like 12 people on the Cat. And it was like same conditions this year. It was almost identical, and everyone had more fun. And I think it was because we only had grown extracurriculars instead of beer. No one had any beer. Yeah, and we got, I think we got 11 runs.
Question that fun factor.
Awesome.
And we were cranking them out.
You guys went past
I don't
winter
fully
freak up
agree with
there.
that, but it worked for you guys.
Yeah, it was great. But I mean, we went full. I think I had 40 milligrams of edibles,
Oh, nice.
plus some Smurf houses.
Smurf House? What's that?
What is that?
Smurf houses. You
Like
know,
a
the
like a
Smurfs-
gummy?
No, what the Smurfs lived in. I didn't want to say mushrooms on the air.
Oh shit! Fuck.
Come on, man.
Damn.
I feel
I never
really-
heard that.
Smurf houses.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is good.
Okay.
Okay.
Code word.
Okay.
Smurf
Spirit
house.
slice.
We'll have to cut that part out there. In
The
middle.
DEA is like,
Yeah.
write
They
that
don't
one
care.
down.
Got him.
They say Smurf houses. They're talking about mushrooms.
Goddamn.
You know, it's funny. We got
Surround
like
those ops.
we do a lot of like drug training and stuff in the school district, and they send like this emoji, like a card, like an email, like these are what all these emojis mean when they put them together. Like this means Adderall, and this means this,
Oh,
and
really?
this means that, and this means this, and just like
Oh, shit.
what?
The code breakers.
It's like smiley face with the zipper and the little thing in the scale means this. It's just like, oh, okay.
Shit.
They got a spy in their midst. Like
Yeah,
one of
somebody.
the kids is coming in and it's like, oh, this is what that one means.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I had a point on the
Where you were going?
Yeah,
with
what's
that?
the mushroom one?
mushroom one?
Is it
Smurf
just
House.
mushroom?
Oh, I don't know.
On
I'd
the
have to
emoji?
look. I'd have to look.
It's just
they
a
like sent
mushroom.
like a email. It's printed out. In
Somebody
there.
A
sends
bright
a,
light
uh,
after it.
a Smurf Skiffy code
Oh,
word.
yeah.
You know
Oh,
what's
yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Smurf Skiffy. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Let's get to the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Not this
Oh, I
year.
will say
Not
that's what I was
this year,
gonna say.
guys. Not this year.
That's what I was gonna say. A lot of times, if you're like on one of the socials, I know you guys aren't really on it too much, but there's like certain like groups on Facebook or whatever, like new sheep hunters or backcountry dudes, and there's always people asking questions. New people are asking stuff, or what's one thing that you never won't forget, or one thing that you definitely shouldn't bring, but you bring, and all that. And my responses are always like creamer. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
because I never
Coffee
see
creamer.
anyone put that in there.
Yeah.
And this is like people from all over,
Right.
I was like creamer in a baby bottle. And like, oh fuck, just blowing mine. And the other one is like I always would take edibles on the hunts, dude. Like I always, at the end of the day, you're done. You're trying to relax. You're trying to go to bed. Maybe you got a bunch of hours in the teepee. Like that would just be like the best, and it doesn't waste shit.
I feel like it's the only way to like fall asleep
Oh, totally.
quickly, because otherwise, because you're usually like, especially sheep hunting, moose hunting's like whatever, but sheep hunting,
Yeah.
when you have like so much movement and it's a lot of elevation up and down, like it's like playing men's league.
Yeah.
Late
Yeah.
at night, you get home and you're just like,
yeah.
and you're not just like you're tired, but you can't fall asleep because you're like that
Yeah.
pump's going on.
Yeah,
too
your
much,
legs
and
are just
your knees
electrical.
and ankles are just like sparking.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I'm like chiefing in the tent for
Well, I would
sure.
even say like chiefing for sure, and doing the passing around the peace pipe, but that works good right away. But the edible, for some reason, like once you fall asleep faster, and
Yeah.
you fall asleep into REM hard sleep like right away, and for the whole time. Like if you just smoke, you'll fall asleep and you might wake up later on. You got to
Yeah.
pee or something, and
Yeah.
then it's difficult to go back to sleep. But I found like if you just, it doesn't have to be a lot. You know what I mean? Of the
No,
edible,
little
dude, you are
5
just.
mils.
But you will feel in the morning
Way
groggy. No, you'll feel a little
Oh,
groggy.
yeah, yeah,
but once you get up,
and
you're
you
good.
better have
But
your
that's
water
'cause-
bottle near you.
Yeah, but that's because but that's because you've been sleeping so hard.
parched.
Like you are so
Yeah.
dead, and then you're like, go alarm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you
So,
going
just-
indica or what?
I like to go indica.
100% for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I try for edibles. I try to go indica, but I like the sativa for the flower and stuff like that. Especially you're doing stuff and
Well, most of the time, unless you really research the edible, most of the time, these companies like they're just putting sativa and indica on there, and it might have come from a sativa or indica, but half the time it's a distillate, so it's like it doesn't matter. Like you extracted just the THC, so without like all the terpenes and the other cannabinoids, that combination and entourage effect is what makes in the couch and sativa. A
scientific right
sativa,
gotcha.
it's not really that. Like you're just getting.
Oh, really?
So you got to make sure that they're not like the boys that came up from Oregon. They brought some stuff, and he had some edibles, and he was like, yeah, they're full spectrum, and I was like, yeah, they all say that, but half of them, most of them, especially edibles,
Yeah.
the edible companies buy distillate because you can make a better edible because when it's a distillate, it has no weed flavor. It has
Yeah.
no flavor at all.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
gonna
vodka,
absorb
right?
whatever flavor
it's
you
like
add.
tofu. So whatever you make it into, it's that flavor. And everyone's like, oh, these are so good. You can't even taste the weed. And it's like, yeah, it's a distillate. So you're not getting the whole effect. But these guys had stuff that was solventless made and came from, so now you got no solvent in it. It's just a press and heat, and you're not killing all the other cannabinoids. Way better for you. And that
More pure too.
was way more effective for like any ailment. Because, man, first run, yes, it never fails when you have a big group. Someone goes first and they're like, oh, dude, when you get on the way down, halfway down, there's big cornice, just nail it. I'm like, second down, my boy Ian was like, yeah, there's a good cornice. Like, you can hit it on any part of it. And I came down and he didn't say he only went by it, so he's just looking back up at it, and he couldn't tell that a lot of these cornices get like a shelf from the wind.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't clear the shelf.
Oh,
So it was like a 15-foot
Full case
drop
off?
to flat. Oh, click my teeth, dude.
Oh man.
Drove my shoulders in. I haven't gotten that position in a long
full
time.
squat,
bro.
just.
Oh, full turtle. Like knees hit my shoulders so hard it hurt.
man.
Click my teeth.
Could've fit. You
Finish
could've-
the run. Like, hey, stop taking my picture. Look at all the glitter. This is pretty. Just like get down there. I'm like, he's like, my bad. I was like, not my bad. If I would have had enough speed and cleared that, it would have been great. But it's not. I was like instantly like, now I'm in like preservation mode for the rest of the day because my back is like, I can feel it just like
Yeah.
locking up. And I'm like, who has those edibles? Whoever has the edibles, send them down next. So I need those right now.
so you guys go snow machining too?
Yeah, they've been a couple days. They went kind of, it hasn't been blue to like really get after it, but they went exploratory. They actually got a pretty sick route. They went all the way into Skookum Glacier, and you can go all the way up and around, and you can come out on Spencer. So you actually go around Squirrel Flats and all that, and then they went up into Squirrel one day. But they've been, Nate's the best, but Nate will be like, he's worse than me with like, it'll be fine. Because they were going to Whittier, and I was like, bro, you got like 6 dudes that ride snow machines 1 week a year.
Oh, and he's trying to.
And you're going to Whittier. And our buddy Todd's been to Whittier with us, and he was just like, we're going to Whittier? He was like, I was like, yeah, man, get ready.
little bit more
Ain't no
advanced, right?
warm-up lap on Whittier. It's like leave the parking lot, straight climb.
Yeah.
And they were like, fuck. But they wound up not going there. But yeah, they've been taking some whoopings on the sleds.
There's going to be some sore mofos into this
Speaking
week.
of
Yeah.
machines,
Oh, is this the perfect
Oh
segue?
yeah. So all the boys need to remember that the last week of March is the final week to order your 2025 Ski-Doo snowmobile from the 2024 Ski-Doo National Dealer of the Year, Alaska Mining and Diving. So when's this one going to come out? The week before that, right?
I can't ever hear that and not in my head go Alaska Mining.
Yeah.
Right.
Little jingle?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you
When is
are,
what?
When's this pod coming out? Probably
That week.
Yeah, the week. So when you hear this, you have that last week of March to get in there and get your
Perfect timing.
snowmobile ordered. And if you do, you get $1,000 in free parts or accessories, or a free 1-year warranty. So
It's up to $1,000 in
yeah,
extra shit?
yeah. And
Sweet.
even if you want to check them out, they'll give you a free cup of coffee and you can bullshit with the guys.
Yeah, and
Lots
as
of
you,
other stuff.
or not you, well, yeah, you too, but my brother wrecked his machine, and he couldn't find one that he wanted, and it seems like you can't, like, if you have to, like, snow check, like, that's, like, you have to, you definitely can't go into the, in there
it's
and try
it's
to
hard
find the
buy
machine.
stuff off the showroom. And to be honest, if you plan on buying a new machine, you're not buying used, you're going to a dealer, you should always snow check, because the benefit of, you always get an extended warranty. You're getting, there's a lot of perks to the snow check, and it does help these companies out drastically, because then they know what their production run needs to be. And so that way it keeps you from having overstock. It helps out the individual franchises. It helps out the company, and it helps with the pricing a little bit, so they're not having overstock or understock, and
then you get what you want.
you get
the
exactly
colors
what
you
you want. You
want,
pick your colors,
And you can add in the accessories right there. $1,000 accessories, I mean, there's always, obviously more than that you probably want, but $1,000 off.
You gotta get that.
And then
filter
what
kit.
does it cost to
$500.
$500? You know what I'm saying? And
$500.
if a year from now you realize, I'm not going
it's
to,
non-refundable. You'll eat the $500, but or you could transfer it to someone too.
So what happened with your deal?
My snow check, I actually backed out of this year because I couldn't sell my sled.
Okay.
Yeah, I ate.
Okay,
the
I wonder what you
$500.
did. Thought you were just going to get both.
No, I would love to,
Yeah.
but times are tough.
So you're going to go try again?
No, I'm
gonna
not
snow
snow
check?
check. No, because, and to be perfectly honest, I was going from a turbo to a 9R because I was feeling like I kind of want. There's not as much of a benefit to the turbo as an Alaskan compared to like Colorado, Washington, Idaho, where these guys, the parking lot is 8,000 feet. Mm-hmm. So a turbo is way more effective. We're, turning against 1,000 feet.
Okay.
So you're not like, we don't ride hardly above 5,000 feet up here. So the gains, and it's not as snappy, but I just got to like do some clutching, maybe some tuning and suspension adjustment to get my sled a little more playful. It's a pretty planted, which is great for doubling though, for like snowboarding.
Mm. So yeah, go see those boys down there. Have a chat with them. They're standing around waiting for someone to walk in and order something. And I'll say, since Jack and I got our 6x6, the ATVs, probably the baddest ATV on the planet, you want to go in there and order that too, man. They ain't going to just have it when you go in there.
No.
I mean, it took a year for mine.
Yeah. I think it took 8 months for me.
So
Yeah.
go in there if you're trying to get in something. I know it's a little bit counterintuitive, right, to like think about buying a snow machine right now in the spring for next year, but that's what you got to do.
Well, if you don't snow check and then you do wind up buying new and you're trying to get it off the showroom, even if you can find one, you're not going to get it in November like the snow checks. You're going to get it after all the snow checks come in, and then they get their dealer stock, and that's going to be probably December, January, and so you're going to miss some riding.
Yeah,
so
it's half a year almost.
So shit or get off the pot, people.
Well, one of the cool things, I'm trying to remember if it was mentioned in the ad or in the plug there, was, the snow checks have a maybe, 1 off or 2 off color option.
Yes.
Or certain additions that, only that 1 year is going to offer. So, if you end up with a machine that you like for a while, you're going to end up with a cool, unique looking machine that a lot of other guys aren't going to have. So,
and there's some models that are snow check only too.
Yeah.
Like you're not even getting that modal any other way unless you bought it used.
There's only a handful of every year I'll ever see out in the field. And
it's the best route to go.
Yeah.
It is. I understand people are on budgets, and if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But if you can afford it, it's the best route to go.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this year was a kind of a flip-flop from years past where we had that post-COVID push. A lot of dealers couldn't, stock enough product, couldn't order enough product.
Oh, yeah.
This year was probably the first year since then where you had a lot of guys going into their commitments to snow checks with old machines they couldn't get rid of, and we're like, oh, fuck, I guess I'll hold on to this. And then what was cool, though, is that the snow checks became available to other consumers, and they got sold up. And so for those
Can you
dealers
transfer
that...
a snow check?
No. Not...
Let's say you put the 500, you're like, I'm going to back this out, but Brandon's going to take it.
If you can...
And he'll give me the 500.
What we would have to do is he would buy it under my name, and then as soon as we got the registration, we would switch it to his name. Is the only way you could.
Okay.
And I think they're probably not supposed to do that, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that shit. I think that they don't get the benefits of the snow check, like the extra warranty.
Oh, okay.
They can buy the sled from you.
Okay.
And
well, my understanding is too is you don't want to become a consumer that is frequently backing out or selling snow checks, because they do monitor that. And so, if you're...
Well, because of COVID and the supply chain stuff, people were buying, literally snow checking their sled, and then that day, a whole 6 months before your sled's even going to arrive, was posting shit for sale at like $3,000 over MSRP on Craigslist, being like...
It's like the ludicrous tickets.
Yeah, it kind of
as soon as like the snow check
Can you still get them
period ended, like March 28th, whatever, you can't snow check anymore, then people were posting those ads immediately.
Holy shit.
Like, I'll sell you my snow check next year.
I think those days are over, though. That was just Alaskan dumb shit going on.
Well, it did happen, because that's what happened with mine. When I went to get the 6x6, they're like, oh, okay, well, you're number 6 in line because this guy's getting 5. And I'm like, what? They're like, we think he's like buying them and selling them, but we don't know. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way to prove it, and they're not going to say no.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Wow.
happening anymore now that the anti-socialism people who took the socialism PPP money
Yeah.
and bought boats and all kinds of shit with it. Now that that's over.
Now
I
that they're
think
being
that,
investigated.
Yeah, there might be now. Huh? I saw that news
hope
clip
so.
too.
I hope so.
Some like $2 billion in Alaska alone. or
Oh
something.
man, it needs to happen.
Oh man, people are
There's some sketch.
Yeah.
always be sketched when there's someone's offering you some free money.
I was wondering how they're qualifying it,
What's the
because we
catch?
had a business and couldn't qualify for most of it. So it
Totally.
was insane.
Yeah. Oh, people lied left and right.
Oh
dude.
man, yeah.
There was so much shit
Oh,
going
yeah.
on with
I'm
that.
not even gonna say. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I got close friends that might get mad at me. If I just disclose the shit that people were doing.
Well, I mean, as our tribe, we need to fucking hold those people accountable
Got the whole-
individually.
got
not
their
on
whole
the air.
family on payroll. And shit.
Well, they actually, I read something somewhere that was part of why, you know how they hired all these extra like IRS people was so
Yeah.
that they can go and investigate all the fraud that happened with that.
They need to.
I don't know.
Well,
if
maybe
it's been
they
going
shouldn't
on.
have defrauded us and gave the money out in the first place, and then they wouldn't have to investigate the fraud.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure some people really benefit, but I know probably the majority of people were like, yeah, I'm going to buy this boat.
I was like,
Snow
how
check
come we
5
can't get
6 by
any of this?
6s.
yeah. I'm going to get 5 6x6s. Jesus.
yeah, I'm probably only bitching about it because it wasn't available to me either. Or who knows? I might have took
That's
it.
how it goes.
I might have had a new boat.
Could have started a podcast. Shit. You
Might
never
have had
know.
a new boat. Is that with this PPP money right here?
You know, I fucked
See
up,
that
dude.
camera?
I'll come full clean. I fucked up. I was trying to get some of that money, and I ended up getting a loan, not a grant. I didn't realize till after I got it.
Pay
I was
it
like,
back?
"What?" I was like, "I
Gotta
gotta
pay this back. Wait, the interest is how much?
Actually, the interest was nothing. It was
I know,
crazy.
I know.
It was like 2.7% or something crazy, and I didn't get that much. It was just a little bit. I could have got more, but I was like, this doesn't seem like I'm just gonna go for half,
Start there.
see if it comes, and then I got it.
It kind of feels like someone's gonna come knocking.
Oh,
with it,
totally,
right?
man, totally.
Like,
But
this seems
I don't
too
feel as
good
bad
to
because
be
I have to
true.
pay it back. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not like the PPP is like one or the other.
Well, some of them, they were forgivable.
Yeah, some of them.
And that's
were
what I
paid
thought
back.
I had, dude. And when I go to do the taxes, you know, homegirl's like, "Nah, you didn't get that one." I was like, what? Oh shit!
This is a car loan. you need to find a car.
Yeah, you clicked capitalism, not socialism.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Did you not see that in the small
Yeah.
print?
Yeah.
You clicked the wrong box.
damn, man. I'm hoping I get like a forgiveness letter or something. I don't know. Forgiving everyone else's loans.
Only student loans.
God.
How about that lady that gave like $2 billion and is paying like whole like medical schools like tuition for everyone? till
Oh,
it runs
really?
out. $2 billion.
Man, that's
Oh, giving out like scholarships,
No, not
like paying off
scholarships.
people's loans.
Every single student at the school has their tuition paid until
Yeah.
that $2 billion is gone.
whoa.
Yeah, you know what's
Which is
crazy?
probably
man?
going to be
That's
10
awesome.
years.
Yeah, that's
What
awesome.
school is that?
I don't remember. It's a med
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
Just saw it the other day. Her husband
It
was
is
rich and he
ins-
passed away, and she gave $2 billion to the school.
Wow.
Dude, it is insane the amount of loan that these kids are coming out of that college, dude.
Yep.
I was talking to one of the PT guys, and I don't know, the loan stuff come out, and I was like, "Oh, I saw where'd you go to school?" Da, da, da. And they're just sitting with like 250 to 300 grand in student loans, and the wife.
Yep.
So as a
Oh,
beginning couple, you're 500 grand in debt.
When you go down that road, like, I mean, if you want to talk about like systemic problems, there's not a more fucked up one than the student loan. First off, you're giving it to like substantial amounts of money to 18-year-olds that have zero credit history, no credit report, and it's literally the only money that you cannot duck from ever.
Yep.
If you file bankruptcy, you can get rid of all your debt except for student
Yep.
loan. And it's just like, and you're just giving, then you're giving that to kids who just are being told like they're only, half of them are only going to college because they're being told like, this is what you do. It's just what you do.
Yep. You have to.
They
go
don't
to
even have a
college.
direction. There's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you got all these people in student loan debt with liberal arts degrees.
Totally. Well, at least these guys are using it for their therapy, physical therapist stuff. But even that, like, that's not a fucking. They're not making more than $100,000. You know what I'm saying? And they have a $1,500 pretty much mortgage you got to pay that isn't touching the interest for the first 10 years.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane.
It's
how do you even get ahead?
It's a crazy system.
And then at the same time, you go to those campuses that they go to, and the only thing that's happening is that they're building them bigger and bigger and bigger. And like our engineering building at our college was amazing, but 1/3 of it was actually being used. And was it being used efficiently? No way, and it's just building new stuff there, and the crazy gym for the athletes. And where's that money come from? It comes from us, right? So it's raise the tuition. We need this new building.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to my education and providing back to the community. Yeah, you're right. They need to fucking rework
You can wind
this
up
shit.
with the same amount of student loan debt and never even set foot on campus now. You can just do it from home.
Right. Yeah.
You can go to ASU right here in Anchorage, Alaska.
Dude, I've been encouraging these kids that come through our program at ASD to just
Trade school.
100%.
Union.
All of them. I said, listen, go here, go to this website, go to the union place, choose one of these things, go sign up.
Plug them in there.
You could do it now. Forget your job you're applying at Costco or Wendy's or Amazon or whatever. Go right here tomorrow, and you will take me in 10 years.
Yep.
Thank you in 5 years when they're making $60 an hour as a journeyman.
Yeah.
And they don't own nothing.
Right.
Like, they have no clue. They're all looking for jobs at Wendy's or wherever. I'm like, dude, you guys are tripping. Like, just go right here. They're going to pay for your school. They're going to
teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah. And then whatever, you can go anywhere in the world and do that,
Yeah.
And talking to my brother,
There's something to fall back on,
who's a plumber. He's like the youngest plumber in the fucking state, dude. He's 40 something. Like, there ain't no young plumbers.
You're starting to see it all over. Like, Instagram, you see the feeds. Like, there's like these entrepreneurs and rich dudes are like, what would you do? What advice would you give to these kids nowadays? And they're like, don't be a doctor. Don't go to school for 10 years and come out $500,000 in the hole when you can join a union when you're 18. And by the time that doctor is getting his first paycheck, you're already vested into a union and you're making $60, $75 an hour.
You're halfway off paying a house off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're way ahead of that doctor. And yeah, the doctor might pass you eventually, but not all of them.
No.
You like surgeons, and not all doctors make $2 million a year.
No. So, be smart,
Be smart.
kids.
It's a good little rant, boys.
Yeah.
It was good.
I've been
Good
telling
for
my own
young
kids
listeners.
that too. Like, listen, if you ain't going to go to school, if you don't know what you're going to do or you really want to do, this is what you're going to do.
At least for now.
Because then you can do that and you can always fall back on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to
Yeah,
be your whole passion. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's passionate about fucking putting pipes together or wires together.
We know.
But at least you have this to fall back on until you figure out what you want to do.
And when you're a little bit more mature and know what you want to do, then you actually fucking learn the shit and you become a better doctor, engineer, or accountant or whatever the fuck. you know?
And just life skills from a trade too. I mean, you go do something for a while, you don't do it anymore. You move into another career, you remodel in the house, you know what you're fucking doing.
Yeah.
You got other skills that
I'm debating
translate
on
in life
when
later.
I retire, I'm going to go become a carpenter so I can build my own cabin. The prices going on these days.
Yeah, I know. The thought of
They're going to pay me to teach me how to build my thing. Okay.
there we go.
I can practice over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your tool belt ready.
Can you see me with tool belt?
Yeah. little tiny,
Just a
little
vape-
tiny pink
vape
one?
pen in there.
He just has one knee
What'd
pad.
you say?
for
A
that
little vape
freshly-
pen in there? And beers all around.
like a Sharpie, a couple beers, and a vape pen.
And maybe just a measuring tape. Just that's about it.
That's all I got. That's all I know.
Just telling the boys how to build a cabin.
It just goes to 50 inches. Take that.
That's
She's legal, boys.
Good enough. It's past the 50 mark.
Man, I did get to on Sunday start cleaning my garage a little bit. I've been just hating it, looking at that because as winter you just kind of put shit in there, and
Dude.
and I like to keep a nice
stacking up.
garage about me. And it was finally like warm enough to like keep the garage door open, like pick up some dog poop, start putting some shit away, cleaning up a little bit, and start like you know, most of us, that's our hangout spot, right? Like the garage is where we're gonna hang out.
My wife owns my garage. But
Oh, really? But you got a shop though.
yeah.
So you have a separate,
So
detached garage.
Yes, detached.
I finally got to see that place, and I'm
Down the
like,
street.
oh man, I could use one of these.
Oh, one of his spot? Oh, 100%.
Oh
dude.
my god, it's
That's
like
a great
it's not.
spot.
It's like not a lot, but it's just right for storing the side by side, the snow machine, weight rack, fucking. Where I was shooting my bow and arrow in there, I'm like, dude, this is full man cave.
How big is it?
I don't even know. I don't know.
2,000 square feet? Or
Maybe.
is that?
Maybe.
What's the length of the longest wall?
20 yards.
20 yards. Nice. That's good.
That would be nice.
Is that on your property?
No. I just rent a little warehouse space from a friend.
Cool.
That's the way to do it, though.
It's the only way. I don't know what I would do with all my crap if I didn't.
I wish I would have bought one of
Be
those
storing stuff
fucking
outside.
Huffman
Oh, the man.
Shelter.
Oh,
Garage.
they're expensive,
No,
man.
but not when they
Garage-
first came out. They're like
garage
150. Remember, it was like 140,
Yeah.
150. And my dad was like, "You and your brother should buy one. Just put all your shit in." And I was like, "Ugh." And now
would
they're
be smart.
350.
Oh, they are?
Now you can't get one for less than 300.
Oh, you'd probably be on a
shit.
waiting list.
And they're all pre-ordered and like.
Yeah, you'd be on a
Take
You
waiting
gotta snow
list
check it.
for sure. Gotta snow check. Garage check. You get that garage check.
God, isn't that something for that to be an Alaskan problem?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Got to snow check everything. You got to get on a waiting list for a garage space. Come on. Jesus, dude.
I feel like all
toys.
the cool stuff's hard to get nowadays.
Ain't that it? Ain't that the
I mean,
truth?
shit, you want a Montana Knife Company knife, you better be quick on the internet
All that-
when they go for sale. Those
that
things
good
are
shit.
sold out in like 5 minutes every
Oh,
time.
really?
Yeah, you got to be like,
Dude,
refresh.
It took me three different iterations of them doing the Magna Steel one before I finally got a Magna Steel one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I would miss it and be like, I'd have it in there like re-clicking, trying to get through your sale, and like I missed it till the third time, and I was like, Jesus.
That was a funny conversation we had at Winter Strong on that. The one event we did where you could only do the 3 things. We got the 3 fires started.
Yeah.
And we had like a couple minutes to just rest for a minute. It was the only time the entire event we had it. And we're just like, yeah, all right. You get the new Montana knife? There was like, no, I'm on that waiting list, man. And I went around, everybody was like, I was like, damn, all you fools know about this knife? It's like, all right,
But it's
cool.
not just that. You're right. Like I tried to get that Poseidon, the orange one. You couldn't get it. Waiting list. I remember waiting for the TP.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, man, you just have to.
All the cool stuff gets like,
Boats.
you know, someone designs something really cool and it catches on, and it's just like they get overwhelmed
Yeah.
when it like blows up, and things can go viral now because of the social media, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. But it is time to start digging stuff out. It's getting warmer. The snow's starting to shrink a little bit. It's time to get the machines to the whatever shop you're going to get your shit tuned up for the summer. Get your boats out. I mean, it sounds crazy to talk about that in March, but the sooner
really.
you get it done, because it's not like these guys are just going to jump on it right away.
Yeah.
We rode into Lost Lake and the light was pretty bad, so we were just kind of like picking our way through it, kind of more of an adventure for these guys at that point. Mm-hmm. And Nate and I are just like, we're going so slow because you can't see, so it's just like, and Nate and I are just like, I see him looking around. He's like, feels like you're gonna see a bear any minute. I'm like, yeah, it's a little early, but I'm definitely like looking around like you could see one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, but. It's not.
Well,
Well,
they
probably
st-
not going to yet.
They
but
start
you
peeking.
could.
They start peeking around and digging
Yeah,
out.
you
They'll go
certainly
back in
could.
there and hang out, but
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
start. You know.
Yeah, but it's getting that feel, and I'm
Yeah.
for the first time, dude. I'm like ready for it.
I guarantee
I
you.
usually am not like
Oh, ready
wanting
for
winter,
spring?
to be over because I'm such a winter
Yeah.
person, but now I'm just like I'm so switched on to like hunting, and especially now that we've been doing the whole bear thing. Like
starts
now,
early.
because otherwise hunting feels like far off. Hunting's not a spring thing, you know. But
Yeah.
now with like the whole bear thing being pretty big part of hunting for me now it's just like
Just starts
shit,
off
I'm
early.
excited right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as,
Guarantee
you start,
all the-
as soon as you start seeing those little roller balls, you know, coming down the hill because it's like getting hot up there. As soon as you start seeing that, it's like, oh,
And all the heavy hitter outfitters
track? Is there
they're
a track
going
up
full
there?
send into their preparation for bears now,
I bet.
or flying into lodges and digging them out and getting started. Like it's happening right now.
Yeah.
I guarantee there's already guys flying and looking for holes. Just want to see the first one of the year.
This is just a teaser. Winter's still here.
Oh, I know. Is.
We're going to get another 2 or 3 weeks of dumps coming up.
I know. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, it'll just be a call, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, I think maybe we run into a little good break spot.
Yeah, you want to kind of say who we're going to call here?
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, one more thing I wanted to throw out as we approach. I did have a note in here. Just wanted to promote the Alaska Wild Sheep Foundation banquet.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 13th. Alaska Wild Project secured a table. We'll be there. Our crew, our team. Got some new folks joining our table. We're going to have a fun time. Some giveaways, raffles. I think the tables are going to be sold out by the time this pod comes out in 2 weeks or so, somewhere roughly in there.
Like 6 tables left.
So there might be individual tickets I think are available for $125 each.
If
so
you've
any
never
stragglers
gone-
out there.
If you've never gone to a thing, this is the epitome of.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Well, it's the pinnacle.
Done really
it's
well.
the pinnacle of conservation efforts in terms of a banquet, getting everybody together for a cause in Alaska, and it goes to a good cause.
The giveaways are great. It's
Prizes
good.
are great.
Yeah, come say hi
Food's
to our
great.
table. Come by and say hi to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main question I get is, what do I wear? You can wear whatever. You can dress up. You can wear a flannel. You can come in your sweaty pants.
You wear
You could wear a Kuya jacket.
You'll see everything from dolled up ladies to dudes in their full camo.
Yep.
Just ready to go get to the bait station right after that.
Yeah.
The only clothes they own.
He's got his crispy boots on and shit.
Brandon's gonna stay the whole time this year. Big Kyle moved
I
to
will be in
Texas.
attendance. Full, yes.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's an individual that isn't with us this year that I wish he was.
Papa Smurf.
You already know, man, for sure. Papa Smurf, man, that was great. It was great. Yeah, we got a virtual call we're gonna place with Bert Sorin of Sorinex exercise equipment out of South Carolina.
And their new brand, Sorinex Outdoors, is now launched officially with that rack we saw.
Oh, that's right. It did. That was kind of their showcase,
their
right?
first Sorinex Outdoors product. Yeah.
Yeah, nice plug. Yeah, Bert with Sorinex, he debuted a rack workout system that was also integrated into a organizing piece. So in other words, it had a backing wall lit up where you could put a rifle or a bow. You can hang your packs, your gear, store food, whatever. Really cool. New piece of equipment they come out with. Bert's a rad dude. I only got to socialize with him, here and there at the event. He's a busy man, leading the way on that thing, but genuine guy. He's got an amazing story. His family, they're just all Americans doing great things, producing great products for American sports, involved in the military efforts. They got a lot of really great stuff going on. So, here's just a few pieces.
Yeah.
There. And we
Totally customizable, right? I mean, I've seen it on Cam Hanes and Rogan's, and I want to say they're in a lot of military and even college sports places.
Any professional sports.
Oh, this is the Sabres. This is a hockey one. Look at that.
Professional sports, any Division I. Yeah, they're the top of the line. They're the Porsche of fitness racks and workout equipment and innovation in that strength and conditioning world for sure. And we'll get the story from Bert, but it's an amazing story. Like, his dad never took out a dollar loan. This all started in his garage just because he was just in the strength world, like strongman. He was really into the strongman stuff back in the day. So
His dad or him?
his dad and Bert got into it. He became a thrower, he walked on, I believe, as a thrower.
Yeah, hammer thrower for track and field.
Yeah, and then
35
he's done
pound.
the Scottish games, Highland Games and stuff.
You get a scholarship for that? Throwing hammers?
Absolutely.
I think he
Track and
did
field?
by the time I will have to ask him. I think he did eventually, but he was a walk-on.
Wow.
And I don't even think he did it before that. He just was like, something I'm going to go
Do they do that up here in the track and field?
Oh, yeah.
High school?
Yeah, my son did discus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never been to one of those.
I tried to do the discus. No, I was not.
It's
big
pretty
enough.
awesome.
You have to be big.
It's hard.
Dude, the discus is pretty heavy. I mean, the dudes that were like 6'4" and another like 40 pounds, they could launch it further than I could,
If
right? I
you're
was like,
gonna-
I'm done with that.
Yeah. At the high school level, I don't think, like, if you're going to go somewhere with it, like Olympic level or, world championship level, yeah, they seem to be power lifter type builds.
Gotcha.
But I think high school level, yeah, I mean, Brandon, my son, he's not
Yeah. Not that
not
big.
built like a power lifter.
Yeah.
He's not a little kid, but he's
Yeah. Well, didn't
you got to be athletic. as
Eric
hell.
and
Spinning around.
the Homer boys, weren't they in the shot put something? Weren't talking about that?
Yep. Shot put, javelin, discus.
Didn't they
Hammer.
bring that up?
Were they doing shot put?
They're on the. I want to say they're on the shot put team or something.
Oh.
Brad was on it.
All right.
Maybe I don't know.
I mean, he was pretty
jack guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it. Shot put's heavy as fuck.
What's the weight of that?
I don't know.
Then look that up.
Well, ask Bert all that. He'll
It's,
tell us.
35 pounds was his class.
So do you
Division,
know?
whatever you call it.
The hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah, shot put's not 35.
Oh, shot put
So
weight,
for
high
the
school.
for the Sorinex machines in like or racks and auxiliary equipment,
Didn't
does
you
that
airdrop on?
does that work with like Rogue? Are they interchangeable? The different pieces
I mean, there's some stuff that's probably interchangeable, but no, they're way heavier dutier than Rogue. Like you buy one of Sorinex's rack, like that thing's like, I mean, you put it outside, it would take 50 years.
He's
for
got-
it
No,
to
I
He's got
just mean
setups
like the
on the farm.
individual like accessories. Like you're like, oh, that looks cool. Rogue didn't make that, and you own a Rogue. Can you buy like the accessory and then be able to attach it to your Rogue?
That's what I mean.
rack?
Like some of it might be universal just because they're like all rack systems usually have a hole.
Right.
But they're going to be, some might have some of their own like proprietary.
So there's a pretty
attachments.
cool
Yeah,
view
yeah,
of
yeah,
one of the
yeah.
racks that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's
He's
their
got-
Sorinex Outdoors.
So you can have your squat, lifts, bench press, all that stuff built in, but at the same time you can have
Yeah,
gear on
all their
there,
stuff's
too.
very modular, so you can like you don't got to buy it all at once. You can keep adding the stuff that you want to add.
try and find a frontal view of it. One of them has a bow, one of them has a rifle.
This one?
No, that one has the bow at the bottom, but that rifle one right there is kind of neat at the bottom. Yeah. So he's got like his table set up, and you can see he's got a pack hanging over there. There's all those modular hooks on the left side that are, adjustable and move for, hanging additional equipment or gear. Or, it's pretty cool. You can install LED light on the top, and it's just kind of nice if you have a limited space in your garage or shop or your home, your man cave, whatever it is, you can set this up in there and be able to utilize the space for, working out, training, doing your thing, but also storing your gear. And I thought this was really cool. Coolest thing about this to me was to be sitting in wherever you're doing your workout at home or shop and looking at this stuff as motivation. For that next upcoming hunt or adventure or whatever that you're going to use that gear, looking at that stuff while you're lifting and working out, and just pushes you.
Yeah. Gives me prepper vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that going on, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fits right in with that
if
mentality,
you
for
hang,
sure.
If you hang the stuff on it like that,
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
trying to showcase like everything you could do with it.
And I think if you're looking realistically, that thing's in your house for a few months, you're going to start, it becomes domesticated, and you start putting,
The dirty clothes on.
yeah, just hanging shit on there.
Like the treadmill.
You got your,
It's
You're hanging
close.
drying.
yeah, you get back from a trip and you're, wet ass rain gear, hang it, dry it out, whatever.
That's cool.
Get a little
I like
messy.
that modular system though.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
And
But
like
yeah,
all the little clips and stuff.
Bert's going to be a great interview. I think our listeners are going to have a really enjoyable time listening to this conversation.
All right. We'll be right back with Bert. Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters and outdoor enthusiasts with the highest quality gear and equipment since they opened their doors in 1963. Barney's carries exclusive brands such as Alpaca Rafts, Sitka Sims, Exo Mountain Gear, Hilleberg, and much more. Barney's prides themselves with keeping a huge stock on hand of various top-of-the-line tents, footwear, sleeping bags, optics, cross-country skis, just to name a few. Barney's is also the exclusive retailer of Montana knives, Seek Outside, Kafaru, Stone Glacier, and their in-house brand, Frontier Gear of Alaska. Barney's has a superior selection of top-rated boots, sleeping bags, dry bags, mountaineering gear, electronics, and accessories. Need freeze-dried food or mountain snacks? They got that too. Barney's now has an amazing new paperback catalog available for in-store pickup or online order. Visit them today at barneysports.com, or even better, stop by the store in Anchorage at 906 West Northern Lights. If you want the best, there's only one name in the game, Barney's Sports Chalet.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage for 47 years, has expanded 3 stores. The main store, the largest Skidoo sled dealer in North America, also has Can-Am, Sea-Doo, Climb, Suzuki Outboards, Honda Outboards, generators and snowboards, Kingfisher boats, and so much more. Alaska Motorsports and Equipment just next door, which was previously Anchorage Suzuki Arctic Cat, for all your Arctic Cat, Suzuki ATV, Husqvarna, Generac, Mahindra Tractor, and now Argo Pro and Sasquatch needs. And to round it out, also next door, the brand new Alaska Mining Superstore, for the largest selection of recreational and light commercial mining equipment anywhere, period.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaska public lands, waters, and wildlife. From national level policy work to engagement with boots on the ground projects from Kotzebue to Ketchikan. BHA performs public land cleanups, hunting and fishing clinics, and community education to help take your game to the next level. BHA's community-minded goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping wildlands wild and fostering the next generation of sportsmen and women for years to come. Make sure to follow BHA Alaska for upcoming events, local brewery pint nights, and more. Stand up for Alaska public lands and waters by supporting the Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Join us today at backcountryhunters.org.
The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. When you pull up to the Treehouse, you'll notice the beautifully hand-drawn art by Alaska's own Ted Kim. Once you get inside, you're going to see many of the same people that have been there since they opened. The bud tenders know you and what you like and what new product you should be checking out. The store is super clean and the music's always on point. The Treehouse and local owner Josh Boots is a staple in the cannabis culture through his music, community givebacks, and a lifetime desire to bring the people of Alaska the best products available. The Treehouse always has at least 25 strains available, and they're all shown prominently deli style in clear, openable jars so you can see and smell your options. Other products include edibles, concentrates, vape carts, pre-rolls, flour, dab rigs, and anything else you need, they got it. They also have some pretty sick merchandise for sale. Check out thetreehouseak.com, or better yet, stop by the Treehouse today and get started on their loyalty program. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Oh, from the school district for sure. Like,
When he was-
you guys are throwing this away.
When he was doing the little calf raises, dude, it was just like, the whole rack was just, I was like, whoa.
Not built by Sorinex.
No, no,
That's
definitely
funny.
not.
Tubing is like 2x2.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
But he, you know what? For 78, the old man was working out every day and doing it.
He's ripped, man.
Dude, I got
He's got so
built.
much muscle mass still.
Yeah, man.
so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what's up, guys?
There Dan is.
Bert Sorin, welcome to the show,
Hey.
sir.
Oh,
What's happening? Look at you guys with all your wires.
I was gonna say, do we look fancy, or I guess not.
Way fancy. Do I need to adjust the orientation of my phone or anything?
It would be nice if you turned it sideways.
yeah, give us more view.
So you'll love my. So this is what I'm using. I'm using a plyo box and multiple chest rigs for my propping.
Nice.
Perfect.
Hey, we should have
Hey,
seen
there
this
it
last
is.
week with Kip, right? We had like
Yeah.
Oh, wait a
books on
Oh,
books and totes and
What's happening, boys?
We appreciate good ingenuity.
That's right.
Yeah. We got actually it's an Alaskan guide creation chest rig. We got a Field Ethos chest rig.
I think that's on his end.
Oh, is that? Wi-Fi? You got Wi-Fi there? Or are you on cell?
I'm on like a weird Verizon booster thing. If I need to go in the house, I can. I'm out in the cave, but if you need me to,
Man.
I
Wish we could keep him in that cave, man. That thing's
Yeah, it looks good, the
sweet
background.
Yeah, the
Way
cave
cool.
is probably the best look for sure, but it was cutting out right there a little bit.
you guys tell me, man. I mean, that's the kind of the bitch I just realized when I was in here. I was like, oh yeah, they couldn't do Wi-Fi. They had to do whatever this nonsense is.
Seems to be working right now, though.
Yeah, it seems to be working
it's all
now.
good.
We'll roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hey, it's on you guys. You tell me. I'm here to please.
Hell yeah, man.
How long you been growing that beard out?
It's been 10 years, but I've cut probably 5 feet or so off of it. It just would, as soon as, if I'm sitting down, it would grow and hit my belly button or my belt loop. I'd cut it back up, and then it stuck in my chest rig a bunch of times. And so, like hunting season, I cut it up, and now it's starting to grow. Although I think it's like as I'm getting old and stressed now, I'm like a black maned lion where like my hair starts falling out. You know, like when you've lost enough battles, you're just kind of your mane's like, screw it, like I'm done. Like, you're not breeding anymore. You're just go lay out
hanging on.
You're not fighting any lions or breeding. You're good.
Just bust off those lamb tips.
What's that?
I said, bust off those lamb tips. Just be broomed off. You're good, man.
Exactly. That's what I feel like. Like, man, I'm just getting broomed off. Then what an interesting shirt. That would be a good shirt, just broomed off. Like,
Just an old guy.
you know, like for dudes that are like in their 40s or 50s, you're like, he's just broomed up.
That might have to be the new one for you. Like that's a decade past the shirt you guys already got, and just straight to broomed off.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, I'm digging that. I'm not cool enough to like have had firsthand knowledge of a broomed off ram, but it looks like we might be getting a little bit of issues technically. Is that accurate?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Sound is
Should
good.
I shut down?
If you
shut
think
down
that,
the house, or
if you think the internet's better in the house, I think we should probably move over there.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be fighting it. I could go into another cool room, but let me see.
How about I call you back in 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 will be good. I'll ask.
Okay. All right. Late.
Bye.
Yeah, it's funny, I had a note on here about getting our virtual game dialed. It's like everybody that does podcasts typically does a virtual podcast.
Yeah.
We've done 90% or more of our podcast in person.
Yeah.
And
More than that, 98.
yeah, I mean that's like a conservative number. So
What I was telling Brandon, like, it doesn't matter. Everyone is running into the same problem, dude. Like, unless you both have really good internet, you're going to be like,
And even then, you
Yeah.
can still have problems. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of podcasts that, I mean, you got like Rogan and maybe Cam Haines and some of these bigger celebrities that really have the guest in-house always.
Right.
yeah,
True.
they're flying them in.
Because, I mean, who has the budget to, do that?
yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, and I know we tried to, like, because I'm sure, like, Kip, Bert, these guys probably come up here, here and there and try to snag them. But that's probably, like, the last thing they want to do. When they're coming to Alaska, I'm going to go into the windowless room and record with these guys for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what they
In the
want to do.
back end, you're
With no view.
exhausted.
I think it would be cool if we could catch Kip, like, on his way out after the season.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
I'd like to.
Download
I'd be
that.
interested in like his recap of like how his first year as a
That would be perfect.
Or we go
outfitter went.
there. That'd
Yeah.
be even
Well,
better.
that would be great too.
Let's just go there towards the end.
That would be
Like, how'd
great,
this go
too.
for you? You know?
But
Rafty killed a 10-footer.
yeah, well, he ain't killing nothing this year. He told me he's not even hunting. He's just straight learning
Or
from the ground. Packing. Plans on packing.
after the guy or if the clients are successful and he's got a little window, I think he said he might give it a shot. But
Yeah,
that's the
but
plan.
I imagine he's gonna be real busy.
Yeah. Well, he'll be getting a taste of it here soon for sure.
So had you guys been to that cave there from your
No.
guys' trip down there?
No, that's at Bert's like house.
Okay.
We heard about it. He mentioned it a few times.
And what was like the winter strong set? Was that someone's house or it was like where they make their equipment?
Sorinex owns a place they call the farm.
Uh-huh.
It's like 200 acres, I believe. and they've built like a facility there, outdoor facility. So they have like a 1,200 yard shooting range on like Connexes, and they got 3D targets around the whole area. I think Bert hunts on the area. They have 2 360-degree pistol ranges that are dug into the ground, like a hole. So you have banks all the way around, so you can shoot in every direction.
Oh, just full twirl.
If you want,
Yeah, it's about the size of a half of a football field, probably.
Wow.
Yeah. And they do. I just saw some footage of, he had like I don't know, it looked like a football team from maybe South Carolina out there, and they were doing some drills and running and dragging stuff through the sand on the shooting range, kind of where we were.
Oh, cool.
Where we had the finals of the event thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dope spot.
They got a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a home and a small lake on the property. They set up a huge tent.
Trapper cabin.
Yeah.
Cooking facility. Big old field like where we camp, where everyone camps. They have that mowed down, but that's like a food plot. I mean, you can, when you're walking on it and you get a little bit of like dew or a little rain, you can smell it's like spring onions.
Oh, okay.
Like that whole plot. So they got some food plots. I think they hunt out there. They got a lot going on.
It's cool.
Whitetails?
Yeah.
Whitetails.
I think
pigs.
hogs too.
Pigs,
Pigs
and
running
whitetails.
around?
Yeah, they got big pigs.
We didn't see
in
any,
South
but they
Carolina.
said
You
there
didn't
was.
see any?
Black bears, maybe? Here and there?
I'm sure they have black bears. I don't know how much hunting of black bears they do. We'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know
Question.
I just seen some pretty big whitetail that he's gotten.
We saw some nice tracks when we were cruising through the getting the lay of the land before the event.
Yeah.
We did a nice long, maybe 2 mile walk
Yeah.
around the shooting range
Saw
and the
some
whole
pretty
thing.
good rubs.
Yeah. It's kind of neat to see. Yeah, the property's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I mean, just for, outdoor recreation, archery, firearms. They got side-by-sides running around in there. The view's cool. I mean, there's beautiful kind of forestry surrounding the area.
It's a cool
It's like
area.
on a hill.
It's like rolly. I'd say it's kind of like up and down lowlands, not anything really extreme. Like you run the trail during the event, and you'll have some subtle inclines, but they're long. They're like long quarter-mile, half-mile drags, and then you kind of taper out, and you'll drop back down. And all these trails loop around the property. And ready to give it a shot and give them another call back.
See what happens here.
But no, some real foresight and thought has gone into the design of all that.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, way better.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's hard because the kids are home and everyone's yelling, so I'm running around the house trying to find a place that I could have that's not ridiculous.
Well, that's okay. We're sorry too, Bert. This is like we were just talking before before we went on our little break there. We do like 95% or more of our pods in person, so we're still tuning up our virtual game.
Dude, I get it, and I'm so bad at this, and so no, I would have loved to have been there in person. That would have been a much better scenario for me and you. Give me a second. I'm having to like ball up. Like, this is a good one. I got crayons.
You don't have a selfie stick?
What? So I got a folding chair, a beanbag, and a thing of crayons. So let's see if this goes.
Let's do it.
Perfect.
That's high tech, man. That's high tech stuff right there.
MacGyver would have been able to escape.
If I ball up some more crayons there, I'll get a little bit more ballast.
There's Alaska
There you
in the
go.
Pacific Ocean again.
The island of Alaska next to Hawaii.
I think
Yeah, it's right there.
That's really how big it is too.
all we really need is the angle with that beard. Just keep it right there.
It's right here.
Just yes.
Well, we should do it where I just go on a walk and I just babble.
There we go.
All right, so let me level
Done
the
that before.
crayons. All right.
That's great.
Yeah,
right there.
there you
Hell
go.
yeah. There we are, man.
That work?
Perfect. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, for sure. This is. Oh well, there that went. Well, I propped up with an eraser too, so that's good.
It's rock solid.
So, This is rock. This is like my shooting platform. Generally.
Yeah, there you go. Training.
This is like the kind of crap I'm shooting off of usually.
Always training. Always training.
Always. Yeah, all this is training.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So what's up, boys?
Oh man, happy to have you on.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
We've been hearing about Chad's expeditions down there at Winter Strong, and then Brandon got to go this year, and
Heck yeah.
we heard all about it. We kind of been waiting to get the full like rundown on it because we wanted to kind of save the excitement and the info for the show that we have today. Cool. So it kind of worked out perfect that you came on. So thanks again for coming on. For
sure. Yeah, no, it's just hard anytime. Like, what is it? 5 hours different over there?
4.
Like
4?
Yeah, it's 3 here.
3. Okay, cracking. Gotcha. Yeah. It's just hard to get it all figured out. Or like when I call Danny, it's like I don't even know what time. That's like in some other magical land.
Yeah, Danny's like 5 or 6 hours depending on
daylight savings. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been out to see Danny yet?
No, he actually wanted me to come out next weekend and hunt with him, but I have a thing going on with my business and our conditional use permit. We got our planning commission meeting with them so I can't, but I would love to. I'm going to eventually. Yeah. He has to show you some diplomacy after you put him through that freaking moose Bataan death march. That's why I'm kind of worried about going. I feel like he's going to be like,
payback.
We're about to have like triple overhead waves come in. You should come down now. Like I'm going to get you under some like hold downs and payback. Yeah. In like some kind of shark estuary or something like that. Really. Well, speaking of those, he's your cameraman from Winter Strong. I can't remember his name, but I think John. He's raised by sharks. Yeah. I think Danny just told me, he's like, man, I may have got myself into something here with him. And I think they're going to do some shark stuff. And I was just like, yeah, man, you can have that. I'll take bears. I like bears. Bears show emotion. It feels like, I don't know. Which one do you think would be more dangerous, bears or sharks? Well, to me, the danger is you're in the water. So there's that first problem. The bears can't come out of the ground like under you. And bears have emotion. Like, whether they're angry or not. And the sharks, it's like they don't change their. I mean, maybe they swim a little faster, but they don't show their teeth or pin their ears or any. Yeah. It's like furry animals are easier to read. Yeah, I get with that. Yeah. No, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I enjoy the water, but like stuff that could attack me from 2,000 feet down. Yeah, and I can't see it come. Freaky to me. Like, you get blasted by a Volkswagen with teeth. That's just kind of weird.
Yeah, there's no getting out of that. There's no escaping that.
No.
Your breakfast.
Right. Yeah.
Now what if you had mountain lion in there?
I don't like mountain lions either.
What's your like? Mountain lions or bears?
I'd rather deal with bears.
Yeah. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Mountain lions are too curious.
I have to.
Mountain lion seems like you'd be extra sneaky.
Yeah, they are.
Like the strategy, the strategy of the mountain lion stock versus a bear seems.
Yeah, I don't think a bear is going to sneak up on you.
No. Or follow you all day.
I mean, it could, but...
And you see them in the tracks in the snow on your way back, and you're like, oh, no, this wasn't cool.
Yeah. Have you guys had any hairy encounters with bears and or mountain lions?
Lots of bears.
Lots of bears.
Definitely with bears.
Well, I think that's why we as Alaskans, we're probably not afraid of bears as we are other things, because we, as children... We grow up around that. We see them all the time. We're fishing, we're camping, we're hunting with our dads, our families. It's just like, oh, there's a bear, no big deal.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't like run, you don't like pack your stuff up and leave because there's a bear. Oh wow, yeah, that's just like a cool manly statement in general. I guess it is. I mean, I would assume you're packing. Didn't you? When we were there, you were carrying like a 475 line ball or something like that.
Didn't you have some kind of Gucci thing that you were carrying?
No, I have a Glock 21, a 45 that's converted to a 460 Roland.
Okay, I knew it was something cool like that. I just remember it was something converted to something that I didn't have.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, a lot of guys run revolvers, and a lot of guys give me crap for running that thing, but it has 12 rounds in the magazine, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, sure. Do a lot of guys still run 10s up there?
A lot of guys run
It's
10s.
super popular.
Yeah, and the 460 Roland is pretty. I just didn't want to buy whole nother gun, so I just.
Got you.
I just bought a barrel and a couple things, and it was pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
I would say by majority revolvers though.
Yeah.
44s.
Do they,
Yeah.
Casull.
do they still run revolvers?
Yeah.
A lot of guys, yeah.
Yeah,
The
6
Airlight
shooters.
44, you can't go wrong with. It's so light,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what I carried when I was up there. That's an awesome gun. I mean, it feels like getting kicked in the hand by Bruce Lee, but
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at that point you're not too worried about it.
Hopefully, you're only shooting it once.
Yeah,
That's right. Here's a question. So I had another fella. What was it? AK Slingsby up there up in what Nome is what where you know that cat on Instagram? I don't even know his real name.
I don't think
I
so.
think so.
He kills the snot out of stuff constantly. I think it's like his Insta's AK Slingsby. But he was telling me, he said, hey, like if you get charged by a bear, and maybe, I don't know, this could be just a fancy story. He said you go down to one knee. So the key, he said, if you're going to have to shoot, you go to one knee. That way the bear's coming at you on a level, and then you basically just fill his face up. But if you're standing and you're shooting at his head, like you'll start hitting him in the back of the neck or in the back. It makes sense, like, strategically and angle wise. I didn't know if that was just like, you grow up knowing the whole knee trick if you're an Alaskan.
I've honestly never heard that.
The place that's most done is bear spray, right? But that's like the rule on bear spray is that you drop. With the
Really?
Yeah.
Get
So you
down
don't
low.
spray above them.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just like you're saying you have 1 second to hit it in this angle, right? This one moment. But if you're straight on with the bear spray, you got the whole hose in its face. And so like the 44 thing makes perfect sense.
Yeah, he said he's had to do it a time or
Yeah, that does make the most sense.
two. He said it works good.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say realistically, I think when it comes to if you're going to have to get your revolver out, especially I got a 2.5 inch barrel on mine, you're talking, you want that thing within 20, 30 yards or closer before you start rounding off so you can actually hit the fucking thing,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess like there's a part of me says, well, if you're on your knee, that's one more step away from running, which A is probably good because you're going to stand your ground and shoot, but B probably bad because if you have to run, you can't. But if you ran, you're probably getting caught anyway. So F it. Just go ahead and kneel down and take the fight to it, I guess.
Yeah, put the
Yeah, you're
bullets in.
definitely, you better keep squeezing until that thing grabs you because you're not running from it.
Yeah, you never run.
You are not. You don't have a chance.
No.
I mean, I've seen them on the side of the road jogging at 30 miles an hour, no problem. And I've seen Usain Bolt, 25 miles an hour?
Yeah.
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 Plus, you spur that instinct in them, that predator instinct, if you run. So,
Sure.
hell no, you stand your ground.
Yeah. But you asked
Stand
earlier
around
if we've had any crazy bear encounters, and for 100%, I mean, Chad and Brandon just had a really, really scary one last year on their black bear hunt when they had a brown bear charge them, and Brandon actually had to dispatch the bear because it was going full charge. Yeah.
No way.
I think we got the skull right here. Is this the skull?
No, that one I still have that one at the house, but yeah, we were doing an archery hunt. Chet and I made epic stock on this guy. Ended up he was protecting a moose carcass. We found out later after the charge, of course, and we got within that 40-yard range. He got a wind of us and decided he was going to protect that thing, and yeah, we had to ultimately make the decision there. It was a bummer Chad didn't get his archery bear, but it was almost too close.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Almost too close.
So you're going after brown or black bear with archery?
We were hunting black bear while we were out there and we were watching two black bear on the side of a hill for an hour or two, and they were being kind of erratic. We couldn't really get them to settle down. They were kind of pacing. They weren't really feeding in one spot, and so we couldn't make a play, so we kind of sat down at a higher vantage point, and we were just going to watch them. And I got my spotting scope out and just kind of started picking apart the landscape around them to see what else was there. And I found this monster brown bear that was just pacing back and forth, and he would sit down like Winnie the Pooh. And I was just like, what? Okay, well, now I know why these black bears are not settled down, because they got this giant brown bear below them. And so we decided to make a stalk on the brown bear because we had pretty good coverage.
You're good to go with that. So you're like, oh, sweet, brown bear hunt.
Yeah, so Brandon was
we
like...
We had tags in our pocket for brown bear just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yep.
So Brandon
Just
was
pew, 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 this
Brandon
one, that one. They're all going down.
Yeah, right. This is great.
So we had about 1,000-yard stalk across this flat, and it's an area that had burned like 2 years prior, and the brown bear was right on the edge of a like pretty distinct straight line of burn, and he was in the non-burned area. So we were going across a lot of deadfall, and there was kind of a barrier that was built, like almost like a fence line where the trees had fallen down on the burn line, and he was in the green. And it kind of had a barrier in between us. We got to where we thought he was, and I climbed up on a deadfall, and I saw him. And then Brandon saw him, and Brandon was standing behind me, and he was kind of pacing this area, and I had him at 35 yards, but I didn't have a window. He was behind some trees. And so if he would have scooted back 2 feet, I would have had him. I could see his butt, but I couldn't get a lung shot. And he took one step backwards like he was going to, and then he walked forward. And when he walked forward, he disappeared behind this big brush pile. And then I thought he was going to come around that, and that was about 40 yards. And so I was waiting for him to come around, and with Brandon being behind me, he spotted Brandon first. And so I saw his nose come around the corner, and he just instantly pinned his ears, and his lips were just straight sideways, and he just charged straight at Brandon. And Brandon waited
for the false charge
because he thought he was going to bluff charge, and I still had my bow in my hand because I was still drawing because I thought he was going to stop and I'd get him. Yeah. And he did not stop. And so Brandon cracked him once, and he spun in a circle, looked almost like a cartoon. How he got hit, it kind of like stopped his momentum, and he was just scratching, and he caught traction again, and he came up and over a log, and Brandon hit him again, and he dropped at about 10 yards.
Whoa, that's wild, man. What'd you shoot him with?
It was a hairball, 375 Ruger.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty stiff round, isn't it? How much hotter is that than an H&H?
They're really similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the 375 drops a little earlier, but that initial knockdown power, I mean, it did really well on that bear.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it stuck him hard. And I wasn't even shooting the biggest rounds that I could. I mean, there's like I think 310s or 325s I can shoot, and I was shooting like a 275 at that point.
Yeah.
And it did really well on that bear. It just, that one got a little hairball.
Yeah, it got Western for sure. Neither of us had seen a bear act like that. Normally, there always is some sort of hesitation in that first charge, and he came pinned. But as soon as Brandon took the first shot, I heard like a whole bunch of noise from where he was, and I thought which was now to our right, and I looked over there, and there was like 4 coyotes that ran off. So he'd been running off black bears and coyotes all day, and then it turned out he'd killed a calf, ate the calf, and then the cow moose, she must have stuck around, and he killed her, and he didn't take a bite out of her, and he just buried her whole. It looked like
he was just pissed off, killing stuff.
Oh yeah, he was already in fight mode.
He was just a fucking bruiser too. The way he was built and the way he dropped his jaw and came at us. I mean, that fucking thing was trying to kill anything that came close to any.
Yeah. He's guarding his food.
Moose. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it was kind of badass in that way to kind of witness the animal, like just the apex predator behavior, but it also was,
It's the only
too
thing
close
worse
for comfort.
than running into the cub, right? Is running into
Right.
them on their food source.
Yeah.
Sure,
Man, it's
for sure.
no bueno, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool
That's our-
story.
that's our
Appreciate
story.
you telling me.
Yeah, that was something else.
Great story.
Part of our bonding process.
Yeah, yeah, Chad, you've been kind of on a roll for some wild hunts recently, bud.
Yeah. Seem to have a luck. I don't know what kind of luck it is, but definitely a luck streak for sure.
You're still here.
Yeah. Hey, man. Learning. I'm doing a lot of learning.
It's one of those things, Bert, you go on a trip in the woods with Chad, it's like, well, this thing can go a whole lot of different directions. Typically, it's set up to be safe. It's planned out. We've got supplies and food and all the things you need, but, you go out in the woods, shit can go sideways quick, and you just never know how it's going to go. But having him in your corner is definitely a win for sure.
Yeah, I learned that the first time we hung out. That was almost 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
When we went up there and met you the day before or the day of.
Yeah.
And we went moose hunting. Old Ron Holmes set us up. He's like, "Hey, my buddy will take you like hunting or fishing or something." Or I think he said fishing. And I was like, "Well, hunting would be way cooler." And he was like, "All right, I think it's moose season." I was like, "Holy crap, I'm going to go to freaking Alaska the first time and go moose hunting with a dude that could be an absolute psychopath." Like,
Yeah, no idea. Yeah, you were rolling the
cool.
dice. You were definitely rolling the dice when you went with a Ron Holmes friend. That could go in a lot of directions.
Oh yeah, Pops and I were staying at some little hotel or motel or whatever, and you picked us up with all this wild razors and who's your buddy that was with us?
Clayton, my buddy Clayton. Yeah,
Clayton.
he lives in
That's right,
Vegas
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Tell him I said hi. Yeah, y'all picked us up. We're like, all right, this is awesome. And then we're breaking axles and all kinds of
Sounds like a Chad story.
Perfect.
Oh, it was high adventure, man.
You had the full experience.
Yeah, right.
And we only went for 2 days, 1 night.
Chad keeps 4 axles on him now.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty wild. We got on a bull like that first morning. Like I told people, I was like, yeah, I hunted for like a day and a half, and we almost got a moose. They're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It was pretty, yeah. I mean, we called and you were like, I think I see a bull right now. And you had way better binoculars than me. And I was like, I can see pitch black. And I was like, are you sure? He handed them to me. I was like, oh my God, these things are way better with the light than mine. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, we should have started blasting, man.
But hey, props to your dad. You were like, you had told me beforehand, you're like, my dad can sit longer than any human on the planet. And he did. Like Bert and I were walking around and like walking the ridge and kind of calling whatever. His dad did not move. And when we came back, he could have told you the color arrangement of every leaf on the landscape. Like he had picked it apart. He's like, yeah, I saw a cow down there earlier. I found her ear twitching. I was like, man.
Oh, it's one of those guys just
That's
catches
awesome.
something little.
Got those whitetail eyes.
Well, Well,
he sits ridiculously still. He went bear hunt with the rivets, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh!" Because they'll sit for like 8 hours, and mostly people sit and talk and blah blah blah. And he was just like, the guide came back. He's like, "I thought he died. He was just sitting there still for 8 hours." I'm like, it's wild, man.
Yeah, he's a good man like that, man. He's got that gumption in him.
Yeah. When's your next plan to come up, Bert?
Man, I don't know. I would love to. This year is going to be kind of hairy. I know I talked to Chad at one point. I want to get up. I haven't ever killed a moose, and so a moose would be uber freaking cool.
Well, that invite is an open invitation for you. You just tell me when, and that's a 100%. I will
done deal.
Drop everything to make sure that we can go.
Man. Yeah, I don't know if I want as high of an adventure as Danny had.
No,
that was base level.
That's novice.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, hopefully that never happens again. It was a great experience, and it couldn't have been with two better dudes. But that was not how it normally goes.
Dude, you tipped over some big bulls, man. Those are monsters.
Oh yeah, Well, that area produces about that size, pretty consistent. They all look very similar. You can tell they're the same breed stock when they come out of there. And it's a great place. It's only like 7. It's about the same distance we went in when I went with you and your dad and at Hatchers.
Yeah.
It's just a different area. You know, it's a 5-hour drive to get there to unload the truck. But it's a cool area. And Daniel's gonna go. He's gonna pull a bull out of there this year.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Stoked.
That's all. Yeah, I'd love to do that, man. This year I kind of went ham on my big hunts. I don't know if you heard the idiot story, but
Are you going to Africa or something?
yeah, well, and Argentina. So I didn't really intend for that. It was one of those, like, Bo Sandoval called. He was like, "Hey man, I'm getting a group together for Argentina Red Stag." He's like, "You want to go?" It's like, that's kind of like my 2 bucket list hunts were like archery Red Stag. Of course, New Zealand would be probably the biggest one, but that was a bit of, costly in multiple ways. And then like a Cape Buffalo hunt would be super awesome. But I thought about Africa. I was like, no, I'm going to do the Argentina with Bo and those guys and Brandon. And it's going to be awesome. And that's going to be the big hunt, right? So we, did the deposit, the whole deal. And that's what I'm doing. And I always do like my Midwest whitetail hunts. And then I was at the Dallas Safari Club show and I was hanging out with Brian Trainer and Josh Smith texted me. He's like, "Hey man, we're upstairs at this banquet. You got to come and sit with us, and I'm come get dinner." And I'm like,
"Oh, this
when
works."
is it? He's like, "Oh, right now." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's cool. Like, whatever. I go hang with my boy." And we go up there, everyone's all dressed up and looking great. So I'd stick my head under the sink, take my hat off, and like try to look relatively presentable in a room of a bunch of billionaires. And we go up there and we're having drinks, and they start auctioning off this trophy Cape Buffalo hunt. And they started at a very, very low number compared to what a Cape Buffalo hunt would normally cost. So Brian looks at me, he's like, "Dude, you should bid on this thing." I'm like, "I'm not bidding on a freaking Cape Buffalo hunt right now." And he's like, "Come on, it'd be hilarious. Like later on tonight, you could say that you bid on a Cape Buffalo hunt. Like, I know you won't get it, but it's kind of like saying that you would have fought Tyson, Yeah, you could be kind of cool. Like, I bid on a hunt. You didn't get it, but, and then, of course, Josh starts goading me on. And then I'm like, all right, fine. So I bid on it just basically to make Josh laugh. And then I won.
and then Josh laughed.
Great price trophy Cape Buffalo hunt, but now it's like, where is Namibia? So I'm having to figure out the logistics of now, like calling the wife, because I had to pay for the hunt right then.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. So 10 seconds later, I'm stroking a check. And which I thought I was going for a free dinner, so they get you on that one. And so then I got to call the wife, which she had not had the greatest of days, and so that she did not find the confidence that I did. So now I'm figuring out how I'm going to go to Africa and shoot a Cape Buffalo. So it's not a bad problem to have, but that's kind of where my priorities lie this year.
Yeah. Well,
You can only do
is there a season for that? Is there like a certain date range?
I honestly don't know. I think there's just kind of like the time-ish that you should go, which is like March through November, which I don't know.
Okay. The dry season versus the wet or something?
Yeah, that's what he said. And so I guess we're going early September, which kind of takes me out for elk, which kind of sucks too, because I put in for like a special elk tag from Wyoming. A buddy of mine's a guide up there, a really good dude, and I've hunted with him before. He's like, just put in for the tag. Like, you probably won't get it, but then again, there's like 80% chance you will. And so, of course, I paid for that whole tag, and then 2 weeks later, I do this dumb Africa thing. So it's like the 1 year I'm kind of like, man, I hope I don't pull that tag. That would be really helpful if I just got a preference point right now. So, yeah, it's.
Did you pull the tag, or they haven't drawn them yet?
I don't believe they've drawn them. I think they're probably in the next, I don't know when.
Pretty close, I think.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just go raw dog and just go to Africa and fly straight to Wyoming.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just do it. And just like all of my safari gear, dressed like a freaking weirdo.
Yeah.
With 375 H&H. Let's go. That would be awesome. That would actually be legendary. Just buy new clothes when I get to freaking Wyoming. Like, let's go.
Start fresh.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
That would be sick if you shot that elk with that 375 too. Just I'm gonna plug
bet
this
it
thing in the
worked.
neck.
Oh, it would definitely work.
man.
Yeah,
You're gonna get some. You're gonna get a little bloodshot, but it'll work.
yeah.
You're going for a headshot.
Yeah, I've read back in the day that guys were like, oh yeah, and maybe that's because I was reading Elmer Keith, but they were talking about, 375 is a great round for elk. I'm like, well, I bet. Like,
Well, I mean, 4570 was a whitetail gun,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure, exactly.
and it
So
seems pretty excessive when you think about it now. Like,
Well, better be excessive than like how they used to run around with just 30-30 everywhere.
Well, there's a lot more to like the studying of ballistics now and knowing like what knockdown. Like you don't need everything. Back then it was like bigger the better.
yeah,
Knock it down.
which I'm kind of weaning myself away from that mindset because that's what I was brought up in. I think up until probably 23, 24 years old, I think like the smallest caliber I had was a 30-06. I had that and a 22, and it's like, no, why would you ever have anything? You're like, well, don't you have a 243? Or I'm like, why? Like, what's the point? And then now I fluctuate in those mid 20s just because they're fun for my whitetail stuff. But
Yeah, if you're over
but
40,
I like it in Alaska. You guys use man guns up there. That's like all 300 Win Mag and better, right?
I'm a 7mm now.
Yeah, I do 30-06.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guys try to get cute, but I'd say for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part,
300
yeah.
Win Mag's very common up here for sure.
Yeah, I went to Unacleat, and I remember like at the grocery store, or the gas station, or whatever, they had 22s, 12 gauge, and 300 Win Mag, and I'm like, wow,
That's about right.
That's it.
that's Alaska for you.
That sounds like a gas
covers it
station
all.
in a village for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I don't think I saw 308 or 30-06, which is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
That should be a good little like survey. I wonder.
Yeah,
I would say probably 80%.
When I was a
300.
teenager, it was 30-06, not 300.
Yeah.
But then
In
now it's
7 mil.
definitely a Win Mag. Win Mag
Yeah.
is very common, and 7mm was common amongst like sheep hunters.
Yeah,
I grew up
True.
hunting a 7mm and then switched to
270 and
Winchester
7mm.
short mag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. You're out there, you never know when a brown bear's gonna pop up or grizzly, and it's like carry someone's gonna knock it down.
Yep.
Yeah, because I would see. I mean, if you're going to carry a 7, you might as well have a 300. I mean, if the gun's roughly the same weight, is that not accurate? I would just think,
Damn close.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I just went to the 7 for ballistics, really, and just like little flatter shooting, and
You run a 7 rim or a 7 like something spicy.
No, it was actually supposed to be a 7 SOM, but while he was building it for me, shout out to Travis Stevens, super awesome rifle builder. I couldn't find SOM brass, like
Right.
scoured the internet, could not find it. He couldn't find it, and I'm on a medium action with that, so I was like, dude, what do we do? Because you already have the action. Like, I can't just up this to a 300 Win Mag now or anything like that. So where do we go? And he was like, he told me about this guy that's making this round called a 7mm Sherman Max. And it's basically a SOM with like an improved hips on it. So I bought that, and that's what I'm shooting.
How did you find brass for that? These guys are fire.
Because that guy originally was fire farming, and when I reached out to Unknown Munitions, who was gonna do the loads for me, they were like, he's just now getting in his own brass, and they were like, it's ADG brass, so it's really good brass, and you won't have to fire form it; it'll already be formed. So I had
my buddy made like a thing he called a 7 Hulk. There's some ridiculous thing. Like, my buddy up in Wyoming, and it's interesting. It seems like a lot of you guys run that 7.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to switch to like a short action type something that was just like so much lighter to shoot. Like, I mean, I could shoot that thing. Anyone can shoot it all day long. It's like the recoil is like non-existent. It's just fun to shoot.
Enjoyable.
Big.
Yeah, enjoyable rifle.
And it'll still knock down anything that I'm shooting anyway.
Yep.
Perfect.
Bert, why don't you give a little history for our listeners, kind of on, you and your dad's history and making your way into the business that you're in now. I know a lot of people know where you're at now with your success with Sorinex and all your stuff, but maybe a little bit like the path that got you there.
Okay. Yeah. So Sorinex was started by my dad in 1980. It was really Sorin equipment at that point. And we did weightlifting equipment. He was also running Sorin playgrounds because he was a PE teacher. So he was building kind of like organic playground equipment out of trees, rocks, things like that, and would kind of clear land and then use the materials because he was working in some school districts that didn't have a lot of money. So it was pretty green and pretty ahead of its time, like utilizing the materials that were on site and kind of just using like primitive methods of like levers and things like that to move things around, which was kind of cool because as a teacher, he would then tie in with like the science teachers and stuff like that and teach like simple machines and levers and actually show the kids, and the kids would actually come out and help clear the land and actually make some of their stuff, which it'd be sweet if they would still let people do that. But like the legality or the liability a little bit higher than it was in 1976,
It's got to be wrapped in foam now.
Right, exactly. But yeah, he used to have kids out there with like saws and like cutting down trees, and then they would make their playgrounds. But the buy-in was huge because the kids like, hey, I did this. I remember
skin in the game. Yeah,
so it was like the shop class and everything all together was making this thing. It'd be really cool if someone would make a curriculum like a comprehensive curriculum with like shop, science, and then maybe like a PE that kind of did a program like that again. Who knows? It'd probably get canceled immediately for some unbeknownst reason.
Well, I think isn't Tim Kennedy doing something like that? I thought he was doing something like that. I thought I read that. Yeah,
he's doing some school stuff for sure.
That'd be cool. Yeah, so he started that, got in, started weightlifting equipment because that was just always his passion. He was a weightlifter since the late 50s, early 60s. And then started the business kind of, I won't say on a whim, but local. He was building playgrounds, and then some local schools like, hey, will you build me a bench? And so, of course, in our carport, he would hacksaw some stuff and build a bench. And then eventually it just grew. We started doing some local high schools and a couple colleges. And then when we were doing the colleges, Pops was always really good at designing innovative stuff that didn't really exist. So we became a very mom and pop custom builder, kind of like a guy building really cool rifles in his garage, So that was really us for years and years. And then I came on in 1999 full time. And, I was an athlete at the time at the University of South Carolina or just graduating, was a hammer thrower. So my world revolved around power, strength. And so track and field is the sport of training. I mean, that's all. There's not a lot of strategy. There's not like a defender. There's not a like, hey, I'm not going to try real hard this time so I could okey doke it and try hard. And it's like, it's all it is, how's your training? That's the only thing that matters in that sport. And the training is hopefully going to be represented in the competition. And I always enjoyed that because it was very straight. If you were in really good shape, you were dialed in, and your technique was solid, and you're a good competitor, you'd throw far and you'd win, or you'd place well. If you weren't, you wouldn't. There was no one to blame it on. There was no anything. So coming out of that world, my life became training. So I was able to bring some value to the company when I first came in because I was a lab rat, right? I was the customer base. We were selling to colleges and pro teams and these coaches and athletes who were trying to achieve at the highest level. And I was trying to make an Olympic team. So it was interesting. I got to be on the side as a customer while also being, pretty high up at the company. I wouldn't say high up. It's not very hard to be high up when there's two of you. So you're high and you're low. You're all over the place, right? So at least I had a voice. So we were able to come up and with some really, really innovative things during those years, first, especially the years that I was training, because I was undersized. And so I was always trying to come up, and Pops was helping me come up with like, what is going to be my edge? What's going to be my thing that is enabling me to throw far and perform at a super high level. Although I'm not the heaviest or the strongest or the most experienced and things like that. So we tried to kind of like use technology and innovation to change my performance, which in turn kind of changed the industry because we were turning over stones that had not been turned over before. So that was, you could say, okay, kind of put it into gun terms. You have a guy that's building guns in his a great shooter that's building guns in his garage. Son comes up trying to make the Olympic team, and then they make some guns that are the most accurate guns ever because they're trying to make the team. It's kind of what we did basically. And so then the relationships I was able to make early in those formative years while I was still training and competing, a lot of the folks that I competed against became strength coaches, became throws coaches at universities. And so my network grew very, very quickly and very deeply. I mean, there's people that work for me today that I competed against in 1995. And, people were like, oh, man, well, how'd you get so-and-so? I was like, man, you better wake up a lot earlier if you want to be tighter than I am with that guy. Like, and it was just, and it's not only loyalty of relationships, it's knowing who that person is. And there's a relationship being built of, I've been there for them, they've been there for me, and we've done some amazing things together. And, anytime you're an entrepreneur and trying to build a brand, it's always there's 1,000 little points of experience that builds the brand. That's what a brand is. It's like if you look like at a trail of tracks. Well, a track is one thing. It's a singular thing. One like sliver of time. That is one track. That is like a second. That's an experience. But you put a lot of tracks in a line, and we call it a trail. And that's something that it's dynamic. It's not static anymore. This is a trail. This is something that's being used. And that's how I see of like an experience versus a brand. An experience is the track, and you lay down tracks and tracks and tracks and tracks until you eventually establish a trail within the industry that is your brand. And that could always move. It could be multi-directional. But kind of always kind of like associated those two things. And so that's where it's so important to always be consistent with the brand and consistent with who you are and consistent with how you handle your business, because otherwise you literally get off track and then you have brand confusion. And so that was something that I kind of learned early was kind of those living the code of like showing up, putting forth heavy effort, innovating, pushing hard, trying to make sure that you're establishing relationships, showing value to that person or people. And when I interview people and mentor my team now, tell them if you work for me and you got to do 4 things every time you interface with a person, whether that's email, text, social media, hopefully in person, on phone. It's 4 things. It's pretty simple, and it's what I've kind of stuck with for 15 years at least. Is number 1 is perpetuate the Sorinex brand. And I'll interchange Sorinex with whatever team you were with. If you work for a company, if you own your own company, do the actions that someone sees you do they back up what the ethos of that brand is? And you need to be on brand. And so if if your company is a Christian bookseller and you're out there being drunk on the streets, well, that's not on brand. So it's like, perpetuate and develop your major brand. For us is Sorinex. Number 2, perpetuate and develop your personal brand, i.e. it doesn't have to be something hokey or something, a YouTube page or a moniker or whatever. It just has to be who you are that, again, establishes those tracks that creates a trail. And, a lot of us that have, each one of you guys have your own personal brand. If I was to ask any one of you, if I was to ask 3 of you about the 4th one, probably you would all say a similar thing about that person because you've established your personal brands within each other. And so that's what I tell people. They create enough content in life, not necessarily social media, enough interactions, enough tracks on that trail where you start becoming predictable in who you are, because the world generally appreciates at the most basal level predictability, because predictability is constant, and predictability is quality, and predictability is when you're raising kids, consistency is what helps them. You can be an asshole, just be consistently an asshole. They can deal with it at that point. Then
they can at least adjust, right? But what drives kids crazy or drives the industry crazy is when you're flip flopping and you're all over the place. You can literally drive a kid or a spouse insane, because then you're just gaslighting. So that's the build your personal brand. So your big brand, your personal brand, and the last two are super simple. It's learn something and teach something. Every time you talk to somebody, if those four things happen, if more people would realize those are the four things you need to do, it's you. All you're doing is just churning up good stuff within your community, because you're always learning something that's going to help you be better, and you're always teaching something that's helping the tribe be better. So I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but like that's kind of what I learned through those years, and then just basically stuck to it. And through that, we stayed with what we knew. We developed it more so. We developed ourselves, and you know, I think I've been here now 25 years. My dad's been doing it 44 years, and a lot has changed, but man, a lot hasn't. I mean, it's really, we're kind of running the same play, you know, and there's idiosyncrasies. You stay ahead of the industry because you don't want to like totally telegraph your play. But if you look at the DNA of it, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I use you specifically as a human and Sorinex as a reference point a lot on just like you're probably one of the most authentic people that I've encountered, and that consistency it's paramount to who you are for sure. Like you know exactly what you're gonna get with Bert, and that's like straight shooter, like to the point, not gonna beat around with anything, and it goes on. Well, no, it's awesome. I mean, it's meeting you has done a lot for me personally, as far as growth, for real. To be super honest about it, that's why I show up every year to that event, because it is a big deal, and the community that you've built around that is like, it's different. It is like. It's an experience that you like. I haven't got that experience that I get at Winter Strong anywhere else. And now
the cool part is you're doing it, man. Like you're doing it in your own community. That's the cool part. Like you taking Danny and stuff like that. That's honestly the dream. Is like, let's all do this together and like kind of hold this standard or this code, or like I'll hold a similar brand or a code of conduct, and then like stuff like Winter Strong and Summer Strong and all this never has to end. It's just
100%
conducting your business daily, right?
Yeah,
that's fun.
Well, like you've created that though. Like that's that's a legacy to you. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But honestly, and I wanted to point this out. I meant to, but I didn't see you the morning when we were leaving. But I wanted, like, this was the first year that like I got to see you like enjoy it. Like I think up until this year, it's like, yeah, Bert's here, but Bert's like kind of stressed.
Yeah,
this was like the first year where it was like, oh man, Bert's like enjoying everything going on instead of wondering. Because I know that like you selling your brand is very important to you, and you want that experience to be what you want it to be, which it is, and it always will be, no matter how it goes. I mean, there's got to be hiccups, right? You got to always have hiccups, you know?
Yeah.
Plane crash, cars flying through the lot, whatever it takes.
I appreciate it. It's almost like being at your own wedding, right? You're having a good time, but you're still like, you got to pay the bill, and you want everyone to have a good, like you're much more interested in everyone else having a good time than you are with you having a good time. And, it's like, I'm the fool that throws a wedding twice a year, and, and it's great. I love it. But like, I have to hats off to my team and like guys like you and Ron, and, guys are coming in and Brian Trainer and his brother, like guys from Rucklist, and like Danny and Brandon. Like, I don't have to do this all anymore. In the first few years I did, like we're on year 17 of Summer Strong. So like my wife used to be like, oh my gosh, this is coming again, because she knows I'm going to be a ball of stress, because you want it to be so good, right?
Yeah.
And then finally one day you're like, oh, like Josh and Ricky and like everyone and Prescott, like they're going to kick this thing's ass, and I could enjoy this thing finally. Like I always enjoyed it, but like I get to ride the rides kind of.
There you
And
go.
which
There
I
it is.
very, very so much appreciate, like you and Ron, like taking the kids and like leaning into them so heavily, and like Ricky, like that is to me, it's not that I get to have fun. It's that I see other leaders leading and creating value for other people. And then it's like, and then I could kind of go, hey, if I never showed up to this thing again, I know that it would be awesome. Like,
It would,
and if Winter Strong stopped today, someone would decide to do their own one, their own Winter Strong, or some variation of it, or multiple variations of it, and that would be amazing. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now, like, yeah, I could go and shoot bows with my kids. Like now this thing's running, and so like, I think this is one of the first years that was like very obvious that that was happening. And I have to commend the crowd this year. I think was the best like vibe we've ever had, and I think partially it's weird. It was weird that we started charging, but we had to get to a point where, I mean, there's no way we didn't make money. We just didn't lose an asinine amount of money. And the goal of that was like, so I could put better quality into the event, but then also to try to create a barrier of entry to a lot of people that, if they really, really, really wanted to be there, they'd be there. And that, in my opinion, created a different atmosphere. And that was really cool to see, because the people who were there were awesome this year.
Yeah.
Everyone was helping. Everyone, like, I met a lot of new people. And, that's kind of weird, because when you go from an event where you kind of know everyone because everyone's invite, to you're like, hey, there's 50, 60, 100 people that I've never seen a day in my life. And like, oh boy, this ought to be interesting, because you got guns and bows and fires and firearms and drinks and kids running around and all the things that are just a nightmare that could go wrong. And it's like, oh, but the people here, nothing went wrong. Now, random people flew through there in cars and flipped their cars, and like I can't do much about the indigenous population, but but yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Like, I know I'm just keep going on, but it was awesome, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to have so much fun.
Well, I mean, you built an amazing culture, and the people are invested into what you've built, and I think people take it to heart, like your message and the lean in and be able to like teach somebody and take something away. That's a very important thing.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's my dream, man. It's so great to see. Like you couldn't have wiped the smile off my face with a jackhammer when I was following the story of you and Danny hunting together. Like, and then to see that, like how it came together and all this stuff, and it was just like, I got to be along on that hunt with you guys because you guys documented it so well. But then there's a little side of me that's like, oh, cool. I introduced those two dudes,
100%,
and they're all doing amazing stuff. Like that's the payout, right? That's the best part. The best part is you guys are having an awesome time together. Like that is all I ever wanted. I didn't have brothers and sisters, so I wanted, a close-knit family of friends. And then the best part is a close-knit family of friends that like stay together and pour into each other. And so like watching you guys on that hunt and to hear like, hey, you might go out to Hawaii and stuff like that. It's like, it's so cool. But, I was blessed by meeting you from Ron, and I met Ron from a different thing. And like, so Ron, leaned in that same way, 8-9 years ago. And like, that's the stuff that I can never, I'm so far ahead, in my opinion, of like blessings. I'm just trying to pay it back, because I've received so many just unbelievable experiences. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would a guy take me hunting and like for moose for no charge that he's never met before in Alaska? Like that.
Psychopath.
That amount of generosity. What's that?
Psychopath.
Because he's a psychopath. Well, Well, I don't disagree, but like that amount of generosity, that's not common, but that type of thing, my buddy Tyler Wolfley up in Wyoming that I hunt with, I've hunted with him 2 or 3 times, and we met at an event. He's like, "Hey man, come up." And I'm thinking, okay, people say that. And then he's like calling my assistant, like helping me get tags and the whole deal. And it's just like dudes like that are just like, oh man, they're just built different. Like you people are built different, and you're who the world needs more of. Like that, I say that from the bottom of my heart, and I fully stand on that. Like your type of people are who the world needs, and I appreciate you guys being those type of people.
Well, you're that type of people, Bert.
Well, I think those type of people attract to each other.
Yeah. And he brings them together in these events, and it's a crazy experience, and it's a awesome experience to because it was so out of I met Danny because literally the first Winter Strong I came to, I was like, I'm gonna go talk to the dude who's like my size, because I'm intimidated to talk to these other people. It's just
that's funny. That's funny you say that, because talking to Brandon as his first experience at Winter Strong, and I've been great friends with Brandon, and he's telling me all about what's going on, and that was the first thing he told me. He's like, I feel like I'm just like surrounded by Vikings, and I don't know if I fit in over here, man. Like day one, and then by the end, he's like, I'm in all the way.
Yeah, your bros and everyone's hanging and.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you Alaska boys. Did y'all ever get cold there? Oh, was it cold this year? It was like nice this year. Never mind.
It was super nice this year.
Have you ever been cold at Winter Strong? Because I wonder, because some people like from Montana are like, it's so cold here. And I'm like, it is a different cold in my opinion. But I don't know. You guys live in Alaska.
I think one of those years we had some like freezing temps, but no, I mean you're below freezing for moose hunting for us, so we're prepared for it. Yeah. I was never cold. No,
it was a little chilly the first 2 nights.
Yeah,
just the evening, like because we were sleeping in tents on the cots.
Yeah,
we had good bags, and I'm not saying I was cold, but it was chilly outside of your sleeping bag. Like I think it was 27, 28 degrees. I checked my phone the one night. It was like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I checked. I was like, damn. Pretty fucking cold out here for South Carolina. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Did you pack the puffy pants?
I did pack the puffy pants. I did.
Didn't wear them. Never wore them. It was warm.
Well, Winter Strong was a lot to digest for me, Bert.
I'd love to hear what your thoughts were, because you didn't know what you're getting into.
I didn't. Chad told me a lot about it, and we had the benefit of getting there really early, so I got to see. Kind of, the tent, everything was set up, but I got to actually see everything in stages get set up, and I got to meet all the people as the thing progressed, and when the masses showed up, I guess the main word was I was a little intimidated. I mean, there was just everybody was so fit looking, everybody was so pumped to be there. And so it was like, it felt like everybody knew what they were getting into when they showed up there, but I didn't really. And so, Chad constantly was a voice of positivity and, this thing's going to be great. And, he's introduced me to everybody. So that probably was the biggest icebreaker, was getting to go around for the first couple of days and meeting people. And my immediate takeaway beyond the physical and mental, the event and everything, was the genuine human social interaction that I was experiencing, shaking hands with other men and women that look you in the eye, that smile, genuinely give a shit about who you are, where you come from, what is your story. And I felt that with every shake of every single person's hand that I met. And that just sucked me into what the vibe and culture of the event was, which was about the tribe, the people, the Daniel alluded to it earlier. These like-minded people are attracting for this greater good of pure human interaction and enjoyment of each other's company.
Yes,
and I'd say that was the main thing I took from it. There was all the events and there's all these things going on, and what Danny alluded to too was he encouraged everybody to participate in the actual competition because of the bond you were going to have with the team of people and the celebration afterwards and all that stuff. And so I was very kind of sketched out. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like not in the greatest shape right now. And I'm looking at all these dudes and I'm like, fuck, man, everybody's jacked. I mean, I'm going to the cold plunge in the sauna with 55-year-old guys that are just ripped, talking about the way they train 8 days a week. I'm like, fuck, man, what did I get myself into? You know, I'm like, look at these guys, man. They're like 10 years older than I am, and they're just the best shape of their lives, you know. And so I'm like, all right, man, I'm just gonna go with this. I am going to enjoy that I am uncomfortable, and I'm gonna just soak that up and relish in that, you know. And then
because there's no expectation, right? Like
totally, I got nothing to lose, man.
Hey, it's okay, cool. Let's go.
That's what I figured. I said, fuck it. I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to participate, leave it all on the field. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people here that are in great shape, but I'm just going to will myself through it and just bring the best version of myself that I can to this, you know, event, to this experience. And the bond with the team was amazing, dude. That was so cool.
Yeah, which team were you on?
We were team 8 or 3. Okay. I'm sorry, team 3.
3.
And Chad had like 4 or 5 core guys of that team that they have competed, I think, 2 or 3 times together.
Just Jesse and Zach, but yeah.
Oh, okay. But there was a little bit of a bond and kind of like some leadership counsel, if you will, with those guys. And there was like a little bit of a comfort level of like, okay, these guys know what they're doing, kind of know what to expect. So I felt like I joined a team where I could, in moments, if I had to be carried, I could be carried through in terms of learning it and persevering through the process. And so that was a comfort factor. But
that's awesome, man.
All in all,
that makes me so excited you did it.
Well, and it just kind of full circle and listen to your analogies and things that we're using with the tracks and the trail and the brand and the version that you bring to the world and to your people and to your universe every year, and to see all that culminate with your team, the production, your camera guys, everybody that was just participating and helping and cooking and setting up and tearing down and the process, it all makes sense now. Like all hearing that statement you made a few minutes ago really kind of just links it all into what the heart and soul of the event is and the people that create it and where it stemmed from. And right now I'm on a mission. I've been working out 8-9 weeks in a row. I am 1,000% dedicated. I told that team at that event, I looked them all in the eye. Everybody gave me a huge hug, genuine love, you know, just compassion in the process. I promised everybody I was going to bring the best version of myself, physically, mentally, and spiritually, ever back next year to be part of it. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
That's awesome. That gives me literal chills, man.
Yeah, that's my story right there.
That's the thing, man.
Yeah.
That is, man, thank you for sharing that. Like you actually gave me chills on that.
Well, it's 100% from the heart, and I mean it. It's the way it made me feel. And I think Chad. Chad was the catalyst. He pushed me. Alaska Wild Project, this is one of our first things where Alaska Wild Project actually sent us to the event. And so we were able to actually, you know, also integrate our own personal business to, you know, catapult us into this world, to this space, the outdoors, fitness, the networking with the other amazing human beings that encompass this cool thing that we're all trying to do. That is just, I can go on and on, but it's amazing, man. It makes me feel great.
Oh man. Well, that's the neat part is like you said that we're all trying to do. There's not a competitiveness between us all. Like that's the cool part is we want to see you guys succeed. Y'all want to see us succeed. Like you had Kip on the other day. Like I know that y'all are going to do some stuff. Like that's the thing, man. Like we all win if we all win.
Yes.
It's the coolest thing. And then like I appreciate it so much. Like for Winter Strong, like yeah, there were people getting a little social media content here and there, and that's all great. But I would say for the most part, there was not a lot of there was no selfie sticks, but there was not a lot of selfies and like, you know, just all that crap. Like you said, there's people leaning into one another, having good conversation around the fire. You know, very few people had, you know, logos and things on. So like a lot of people didn't know who anyone was. And the best part about it is like everyone kind of looked the same, right? Everyone's dressed in flannel or green or something.
Green or gray.
Green or gray, right? So you gotta dig if you're gonna get some of that gold, or if you don't, then you probably won't come back because you decided not to dig.
Yeah.
But the ones who dig, they always come back with gold. And they always come back with relationships or whatever it is. And what was an interesting year? I can't remember, Chad, if you were there. It was the year because like COVID hit like right as like a winter strong, and then there was a full year of nothing happened, and then kind of like the first event that I didn't even know of was basically winter strong the next year.
Yeah,
and man, you talk about like interesting. You talk about people coming together because like some people are like came in there and tears in their eyes are like, I haven't hung out with more than 3 people in a year.
Yeah.
And it's freaking me out. We're around a fire with 200 people around the fire, and it's okay. And no one has masks on, and we're hugging each other, and we're fine with that. And we're not washing our hands every 10 seconds, and we're eating together, and we're like doing all. And so like, I think that was one of my favorite years too, because that was just so medicinal for so many people. And it was kind of like a little bit of a window back into reality and normalcy again. And so,
it brought everyone back to like, oh, this is what it used to be like. I remember this.
Yeah. Remember when we used to talk to each other? Remember when we used to not watch the news every 10 seconds and all this stuff? And we're like, hey, would someone grab another log for the fire? That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just, I don't think it gets taught enough that the importance of relationships. And I know I preach it to my kids a lot about how important it is that you do take the opportunities of meeting people and doing things with them. When someone says, yeah, like when you come there and like, I obviously extend that out to like a lot of people there. Like, hey, come on, if you want to moose hunt in Alaska, I can make it happen for cheaper than you're ever going to be able to do it unless you know someone. And Danny was the first person to be like, okay. But I just think like you have to lean into those experiences and relationships of meeting people, and that you really do need to engage with people because you never know who you're talking to and what opportunity could come from that encounter. And that
you're writing an adventure with every conversation. You're writing a future adventure or a possibility of it. And I would have never thought gosh, I'm trying to think. I think I met Wes Whitlock at Rogue American Apparel, who introduced me to Ron Holmes introduced me to you. That and like you start going this big chain, and you're like, wow, if I wouldn't have done that one thing that day, it was nice to that person to start that conversation. This whole like river tributary of an interesting adventure, multi-stage adventure in my life wouldn't have been a thing. And so a lot of times I'll kind of reverse the trail back and go, gosh, I look at a few different events and I go, going to SHOT Show the years I went, going to the TAC the years I went. Those 2 events have been astronomical in the development of some of my favorite people, and just I'm not a big go to a convention and network and meet people, like that's not like the thing. I go and hang out with my friends, and my friends tend to introduce me to their friends, and if they're real people and you have candid and curious conversations with them, some amazing things could happen. And then you walk through the open doors. When someone says, hey, do you want to come to Alaska and go moose hunting? You go, yeah. And then you make it happen. But most people, are a large population of people, are afraid, or they're not, I wouldn't say educated. That has not been a high priority in their life to pursue those type of relationships and keep the antennas up and be interested and interesting, and I caveat that because I've had people say, gosh, you meet so many interesting people. And I was like, how you meet interesting people, you be interested. Like you be interested in what people are doing. If you're sitting there so self-absorbed in your own crap, no one's going to want to talk to you. No one's going to want to share anything with you.
Yeah.
but ask really great questions. Lean in. When you ask someone a question and they go to answer, do you lean back and get served, or do you lean in and listen harder?
Yeah.
Like that, those are all those things that you look for, and you go, yeah, just be really, really interested in people, and I guarantee you'll be pretty freaking interesting. You look at Joe Rogan, wildly interesting, but I would say more so he is more interested than anything. That guy has a steel trap for a brain, and he asks a million great questions, not just on the podcast, but in real life. And he remembers everything. But what that guy's superpower has been that he gobbles up information and is able to like by osmosis take people's stories and their experiences, and he can metabolize those and hold on to those and then regurgitate them, but redistribute them in interesting ways to other people.
Well said.
And the guy is literally that we've hung out a time or two, and I've listened, and I finally figured out, oh, that's what he's doing. He's taking in every bit of information, and he's so smart. He never forgets any of it. And he has this giant Rolodex of information at a moment's notice in his brain, which makes him wildly interesting to talk to and wildly interesting to run a podcast. But the whole thing is that he's interested. He's passionate about finding cool stuff, and he's not just going to sit back and let you serve him. He's going to go dig. And the people that I find that do that are always successful. And I don't mean just monetarily. They're successful in whatever their thing they're going after, but they're always a riot to be around. They're always fun to be around, and they're passionate about life. And the people who generally aren't passionate about something, there's too many things that go wrong, and I watch it happen, and I ask, like, one of my first things I ask people, like, not what do you do, because I don't really care what you do for a living for the most part. What are you passionate about? Like, what do you really love to do? Mm-hmm. And yes, I'm wondering what you love to do, because there might be some congruencies or something that I could learn. But the more interesting thing is, if you say, "Oh, I don't know," check please, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I if you can't be interested in what you're into, I'm certainly not interested in what you're into. And so when you hear people like, "What's your favorite fruit?" "I don't know, whatever." "What kind of music?" "Oh, whatever's on the radio." I'm just like, oh, grotesque. Like, I personally, for me, I haven't, in the pattern of watching people in life, I have not found high performers or people that I really want to emulate nor be around that have that type of attitude. So I go back to be interested, and you'll probably be interesting.
Good point.
Very.
My wife gives me a little bit of grief on sometimes when we're like going to meet a newer group of people, like, and she's just like, just don't be argumentative. and it relates to exactly what you're talking about. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't care about people's opinion, and I don't need to surround myself with people that share the same opinions with me at all. I'm not threatened by other opinions. But what I don't like is when people aren't convicted.
Right.
Like, and what you're talking about with the passionate about something. It's like, if you have conviction in your beliefs, then I'm on your team. Even if they're polar opposite. You could be vegan, anti-hunter, but if you're convicted in those, like, if you can tell me why you're that way, then we're buddies. Then
we're cool. There's mutual respect. I don't have to agree with you.
Not at all.
But I go, okay, cool. You'll go down with that ship. Respect. Maybe I could try to educate you and maybe turn your tide at one point. But otherwise, cool, man.
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense to you.
And I think the most important thing that you said in that whole piece right there was that walk through open doors.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So many people do not do that. And I, it's the one thing when people are like, oh man, you've been so fortunate and lucky to like get all the experiences that you've done. Like, oh man, you're so lucky to be there. And it's like, everyone's had those opportunities. It's just people will make so many excuses to not go through the door.
How many people have you offered to take moose hunting?
Oh, tons.
One guy went and killed a giant.
One guy went.
That's very
Perfect
true. That's
example of the world.
And now,
Right.
now,
Walk through the
because
door.
he opened that gate, now all kinds of people.
Oh, everyone-
Now you got to pull it back
Tip
because
over
I'm
a
just like, man.
Maybe more guys don't want to go after they see what happened there.
That was your saving grace. Everyone's like, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, if it would have been super easy, the list probably would have been real long. But
That's funny.
I'd have been out there the next day.
Hey, Bert, if you don't mind, we're going to take a quick break to run some of the ads we got to do here in the middle of the show. You won't be able to hear us. We're going to turn the volume down, but we'll be back. It's
Yeah,
like
no
3 minutes, all right?
No sweat.
All right, we'll be right back, guys.
Yep.
Big Ray's, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Ray's has the gear you need tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. At Big Ray's, you'll find brands like Carhartt, Grundens, Darn Tough, FXD, Okiwear, and more. Big Ray's is your one-stop shop for both outdoor gear and rugged work attire. Check out their new exclusive line of durable but affordable waders, inspired by and named after the majestic Aralik River in remote western Alaska. The Aralik wader was designed by Alaskans and proven for the diverse waters of the last frontier. Visit Big Ray's at any of their 5 locations statewide, 2 in Anchorage, 2 in Fairbanks, 1 in Kodiak, or check them out online at bigrays.com.
Tailored Restoration, helping Alaskans turn disasters into new beginnings since 1972. Their 24-hour services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, and repairs. Tailored built its reputation with years of committed and reliable service to the community with innovative restoration and home remodeling. When you have an unexpected home issue at the most improbable time, Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Tailored Restoration has locations to serve you in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Give them a call at 907-344-1239 or make an appointment today at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlander products. If you want to customize your vehicle, talk to the team at Total Truck, where you'll find their expertise along with top brands such as ARE, RSI Smart Caps, Goose Gear, iCamper, Frontrunner, Rigid Lights, Rhino Lining bed liners, and everything you need to outfit your truck or SUV. Want to turn your truck into a sleeping option? They have rooftop tents, custom camping equipment, electronics, and solar energy packages to keep you powered up deep in the backcountry. Stop by their store location on Dowling between the new and old Seward Highway, or check them out at TotalTruckAK.com.
Oh, that's
I think
hilarious.
I think every year there has a story, but that's good. We were sharing the Bert. We were sharing the extracurricular midnight madness that went on the property off the mic.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh man.
That was that's nuts.
We usually have something very unprepared or unexpected happen. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, but okay.
that was a real random.
Made it memorable.
Yeah,
when you
it
look
did.
back, you'll be like, remember the year? No, I'm talking about the year that the cars.
You can't forget that year. That's for sure.
Yeah, we had a plane crash a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
Was it one of your crew or?
Yep.
No, it was another guy that flew in, and then when he flew out, he had a little bit of a issue with the flaps, and had a little bit of a tough get off. And thankfully, it was a low altitude crash. I think that's kind of like a fender bender in Alaska, but yeah, everybody was fine, which is good, but didn't expect that.
No.
That was the only year that I haven't been. Was that
Yeah.
year? So I
And
missed
the
it.
wildest part is we were filming a Zach Brown music video during that.
No way.
And, yeah, at the farm, at the party. Literally, so Zach and I are over on the long range, like shooting rifles, and I get a call on the thing, and Ricky's like, "Hey," he's like, "Get over here." I was like, "What happened?" I was like, "He's like, yeah, we had a plane crash." I'm like,
What?
"What?" I was like, "What's the plan?" And Ricky's like, "I don't know. I didn't expect an effing plane crash."
Help me figure this out.
Silence, and he was like, "Sorry about that." I was like, "Yeah, we're all good. I'll be there in a minute."
kind of explain what the farm is and the design and the culmination of all that?
Yeah, so probably 7 or 8 years ago, we purchased we call it the farm. It's a piece of property out in our area, Lexington, South Carolina area, and it was a dream. We always wanted to own some land, and we kind of wanted it for hunting, fishing, entertaining, but also for doing events like this, and shooting classes and archery stuff, and just like, hey, where are we going to have an area we could do cool stuff like this? And so we purchased it, and one of the first things I wanted to make sure is that we could do a long range on there for rifles. And so we have a 1,050-yard range. We built Connex boxes up because we had a little bit of a topographical scenario. So we built some Connexes up about 40 feet where we could have multi-levels of shooting, and, you know, it kind of helps when you have a lot of welders there. So back when Connexes were cheap, we were able to stack them up and weld them all together and anchor them down. We built a gym out there, a little outdoor gym. One of our COO is a tactical shooter and does a lot of training for military. So we built two 360 bays that are 50 yards by 50 yards, 18 feet underground. So you can kind of shoot in all four directions. We built two other little rifle ranges, although we don't use them. They're more like carbine pistol bays. And then, you know, I was getting a kind of a resurgence back into archery. I started bow hunting probably 20-something years ago, 25 years ago, but kind of got out of it when I got more into the gun stuff and just time, especially when I was training so much, you just don't have time for it. So I would say, gosh, it was probably really Kip that got me back into bow hunting probably 5 or 6 years ago. I would do it every year. You know, I'd go somewhere where the tags were, you know, I had to bow hunt during this time. Like, okay, fine, I'll bring my bow, whatever. But I wasn't like really into it anymore. I used to shoot 3D 20-something years ago. So I wanted to build a range where I could lift and run and shoot. And we started working with Cameron Haynes during that time. So it's like, hey, let's build something that you have exercise iterations, you have multiple foam targets, and so it's a 1.5 mile course that has 8 exercise iterations along through the woods. And I don't like doing cardio, but I knew if I built something that I got to shoot stuff and had the targets 100 yards apart and weights and stuff like that, that I would run from target to target because I'm always late anyway. I'm always out of time. So it's like, well, if I want to go shoot, I better have to run. So they kind of my world is training. So it's like, if all these are things I want to do and do more of, you know, the first time I went to Alaska, walking around that muskeg and everything like that at altitude, it's like, okay, this is different than South Carolina. So I was like, well, you know, if you're not prepared for something, in my opinion, that's not that daunting because there's pieces of the puzzle you can put together for training, you know, kind of like you, Brandon. You're like, okay, well, I know what I got to do for next year. Great.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So I went on an elk hunt, went on a moose hunt, stuff like that. I was like, okay, I know what I need to do for training. So I jumped into that and built the course and just kind of really just anything we dreamed up that we've kind of wanted in the outdoor world. We said, okay, let's pull out the chainsaw and the hammer and bulldozer and start making it. So we have a couple ponds on there with some fish, and we have a couple duck blinds and some things like that. And yeah, so it's partly that, but then immediately we were like, we should start having events out here. And I think we had Donnie Vincent come out and hang out with us and shoot in that first year. I think we either just had Winter Strong or we're about to do Winter Strong. Kip came out and just like, I was showing him kind of the ideas that we had. And Kip was always so super supportive of Sorinex Outdoors, and I always push him like, hey man, you really should do something in this space. And for more of a business side versus just passion. And so the farm just kind of became like, you know, headquarters of all fun stuff you do outside. And that was the idea of Sorinex Outdoors, was taking what we already did, which was training and weightlifting and human capability training, and then mixing it with the passion of the outdoors. And so for so long, the human capability and strength and conditioning training was always for a sport. For me, it was hammer throwing, or if it was weightlifting, or for our customers as football or whatever. It's like, well, why can't you take those same ideological methods and to increase your performance, the same thing we were doing with the best trainers in the world. And so I don't believe it's not a new thing necessarily. I don't believe anyone was doing it exceptionally well, or at least had access. I would say more access to the best trainers in the world. It's just they didn't, because they're not from that world. And I happen to luck out that I am from that world. So I'm looking at my phone going, well, I got 50 guys that like are the, top 100 experts in the world, like that I could utilize their knowledge base to increase the performance, the physical performance of these hunters. But then conversely, hunters, fishermen, outdoorsmen, all the same thing. But conversely, all these people that are from the strength and conditioning space, usually they were urban and suburban folks because they've been in a clinical setting or a sports setting. So they did not have the access or the know-how to do some of these outdoor pieces. And I go, I think they're missing out. I think they're missing out by living in a city and walking around on artificial turf, and everything is sterile. And yes, they know how to create power and VO2 max and all that other stuff. But I wonder how that would shake out if they actually got out on Elk Mountain or went out and slept outside and stuff. And so the mission was, how do I combine, and how does Sorinex combine our two passions and are generally two groups of people, and basically just mesh them together and shake the jar and see kind of what happens. And so to create a mutually beneficial relationship and symbiotic relationship between the two worlds, that's really the goal of Sorinex Outdoors. And, there's a lot of people that have done it, and some have done it better than others. And I think we're positioned because of our passion of the outdoors and our people we know in that world. And then also what we've done for 44 years, we were just kind of uniquely positioned. So that's kind of where the farm comes in, as the physical manifestation of that.
It feels like the timing is really good too. I think with the Western hunting has become kind of the movement in hunting right now.
It has, and I agree. And you have to thank guys like that optimized it early on, like the Mountain Tough guys. Those are some awesome dudes, Dustin and Weston, those cats. But then you have to thank Rogan, right? You have to thank Steve Ranella for introducing Rogan to hunting, and then Rogan found your Cameron Hayneses and your John Dudleys and all these people like that. Is very commercialized aspect of that, but I think it's shined the light on some guys and gals who were already doing it and doing it well, which hopefully gave them some more opportunities. But then it also, I think, opened eyes to some of the old hat guys who are like, man, I used to be able to get up this mountain and I can't anymore. Well, what do I need to do? Maybe I'm just old. Well, no, maybe you're just not training. Maybe you don't have 20-year-old legs on you anymore.
That's right.
And so just kind of realizing you don't have to go gentle into that night, right? You don't have to say, all right, I'm just too old for this. Or maybe I'd live at 250 feet elevation and an elk hunt's going to kick my butt. Well, yeah, it will, but kick your butt and still succeed is good things too. So like, okay, we can train. These are things we could do. We could induce intentional stresses to get to that next level. And I think that's obviously happening. And I think Eastern hunters are starting to adopt some of the techniques of the Western hunters, and they're getting wildly lethal, because you're getting Eastern hunters that are knowing how to pack their gear, more gear centric. They're knowing their fitness level. They're lighter on their feet, and you're getting guys like Joe Miles, who taught the whitetail strategy. He is a killing son of a gun. Well, he walks a lot, he carries a lot, he sets up. I mean, he has the physical abilities of a mountain hunter, and he's doing it in South Carolina with the strategy. And I would argue there are very few people that know like upfront strategy of setting up successful hunts more than a Southern whitetail hunter. Our whitetails are really, really smart, and if you're going to kill bucks often with a bow, you figured out the business. It's the business plan of it so far in advance before that happens. And then if you have the physical abilities of a Western hunter, when it comes crunch time, there's some really, really deadly folks. And John Dudley's one of them too. That guy, he figures out stuff months and months and months in advance. And I've hunted with him on elk, and the guy's like a giraffe running through the woods. And so I'm starting to get those two aspects. And I think before that was not very common And so I think that is becoming the modern hunter. And
that's what you're up against when you're out there hunting now.
And that's the thing too.
Yeah.
Now
and that's what you have to realize. That's what I've definitely realized, that like I don't have the experience of Mr. Wesley because I'm late onset hunter, right? You know, started in my 30s really. And so for me, I'm like, well, I'm going to maximize what I'm good at, and that is the fitness thing. So if I can go further than another guy, then now I got new terrain, and that opens up more for me. And so, but now realizing that this is what you're up against out there.
It's pretty wild. I think Cameron
savages.
Cameron said it really well. He goes, back in the day when he was hunting public land, he's like, I didn't have a lot of money. I hunted public land, and if the elk was 7 miles back, it's a race. If I get back there first, I win. And so everyone's like, you don't have to run marathons. He goes, I don't have to, but you can't. If I could run a marathon and I could get back there because it's only 7 miles, I get a crack at that bull. You don't, I win. And that sounds kind of like a jerk move, but the reality of it is the reality.
Yeah.
There's only so many big bulls, big bucks, whatever to go around. And hey, if I could stack the deck of success in my favor by learning more technique, using better equipment and weapons, and then training myself into, that's why there's a reason why people train in the NFL, because there's money on the line and there's something on the line. So if you could train yourself into a more capable human, in my opinion, you're kind of a fool if you don't, unless you don't really care about the outcome.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then it's interesting. Hey, if I kill a buck this year, that'd be cool. If I don't really care. Okay. Well, then you and I don't have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think one of the motivating aspects of that mindset is that, okay, I don't feel like training today. Well, it's like, well, dude down the road is going to go fucking train because he wants that ram or he wants that bull or he wants to get back to that valley. And it's like, well, one less day you train is one more day another guy's going to be getting after it. So you kind of have to stick with it,
And it's a little bit weird because, there's a part of me that goes, gosh, we are, as a collective group, are creating more and more highly capable hunters, which increases the barrier of entry for success. But the other part of me is like, oh, wah. Like, really? So you're telling me I have to be a better human to succeed at the thing I want to be able to succeed at. And even if I don't succeed, I've made myself a better human in the process. Great. We're forcing everyone's hand. Yep. Okay, good. You'll thank me when you don't die at 50 from a heart attack. Right. Because the thing that you wanted to do so bad, going back to that passion piece, was to be a good hunter, that you decided you had to run and lift and eat well and all this stuff because the passion of success drove you so hard that, oh, great, you get another 10 years out of life. You're welcome.
Yep.
All upside. All upside.
I kind of have a technical question. I'm highly interested as I was obviously been hearing about you and looking at all your guys' equipment and what you're doing for universities and military bases and random individuals who can, Rogan and Cam set up and all that stuff. Like, what is the process if, let's say, like the University of Alaska hockey team is like, hey, Bert, we're trying to set up a whole new gym at our area. These are the things we need. How does that process work from like someone putting in or giving you guys a call and saying, we want this, to like you guys producing that and shipping that? And are you casting all those, welding all that stuff yourselves? Like behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, so they'll give us a call. A lot of times we'll hear about the job on the front end, but a lot of people just give us a call. They say, hey, in 2 years we're building a facility, so we'll kind of have it coming up. We know it's coming and say, okay, we'll go out there and meet with them, or they'll call us and say, this is what we're looking at. They'll either come to see us, we'll go to see them. And we're looking at the space. We're diving into all the idiosyncrasies of what the space could hold. But then also I want to get into the head of, and I say I, meaning my team and myself, I want to get into the head of the coach, the end user, the practitioner. It's like, again, building a rifle for someone. Well, build me a rifle. Okay, well, what are you going after? Are you going to elevation? How far is your shots? All those things. So to the point where we're getting in season, preseason, out of season training programs, we're looking over it as a staff, my staff going, okay, I see he's very heavy Olympic based, he's very heavy power based, whatever. And then so what is our best offering that we could give that person? But maybe there's some other consultation that we could help streamline some of their success based on maybe they don't know that this is a potential exercise or a way to get to this end state. So I think this would be a better choice for them. And so we'll do a consultation going back and forth over sometimes months. And then once we've kind of figured out what we want to do collectively as a team, and then, then we're drawing it all out in their room. We're picking logos and colors. And that's one of the things everyone says custom. Custom is not logos and colors. Everyone says, oh, we do custom. You can get a blue instead of red. That ain't custom. That's colors. It's not Crayola, guys. Like we're a custom builder, as in like, oh, you want your rack this much taller and for it to do this other function. That is custom. And so that's really, probably one of the biggest custom builders in the world because of the volume of stuff we do and the size of it. Most people that do custom don't do big custom. It's just not a smart business move, but we're not smart people. So we've attempted to do this weird thing, right? So we build these custom pieces and then we decide and go through the whole process of, fundraising. And sometimes we're helping the customer raise funds. We're creating marketing material for them that they could sell it to their boosters and sell it to their people. So we advocate for them to like, this is where you want to be. How can we help you with that? Is it helping choosing the equipment? Is it helping finding the money? Is it helping, it's kind of by any means necessary, as long as it's legal and moral, is how we could be helpful. And then, it goes into specs, goes into bids. We bid on it. If we get the job, great. And then, they pay their deposit. We confirm everything. It goes into our shop. We have American-made steel and comes right in the shop. And then it goes right into our production queue. And then, of course, our logistics team is following it all the way through the queue and making sure that it adheres to what we agreed to with the customer. And all the way down to install date, showing up and making sure everything goes in as the drawing did, everything the customer, everything that's been talked about. And then basically making sure everyone knows how to use everything. And because some of the stuff is truly new, like, again, you buy a new rifle, you maybe don't know how to use the dial system or a Kestrel. And so now it's like, now we're going to teach you how to use all these new technical tools that you have, because we're doing new things that help you streamline that process to success. And if you weren't going to do something better or higher technical, then why did you buy new equipment? If you're going to buy the same rifle you already had, why are you doing it? So there has to be something better that we're bringing to the table. And then once we do that, heck, sometimes we're in the ribbon cutting ceremony. Sometimes we're part of the recruiting piece. I mean, it's whatever we have to do to make sure the customer is set up for success. And so that's kind of like the full process. And that's why a lot of companies don't do what we do, because it's really labor intensive.
Yeah, very rigorous.
Very rigorous. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's literally like if you said, I'm going on a moose hunt and I need a new gun, and then we measured you, we watched how you shot, we did the whole thing, we taught you, and it's like over the next year we're going to build the perfect rifle for you and teach you how to use it and load development for it and do all this stuff and realize you don't have the money for it, so we're going to hook you up with a side job to help you pay for it. It's like all the stuff, right? But that we're invested in their success, and we're invested in our own success, and it's not easy. And I've told my guys the other day, I said, that's one reason I think we're successful, because it's not easy. If it was a lot easier, kind of like getting that big bull, you only had to hike a half mile back. Well, if it was that easy, there wouldn't be a lot of big bulls left.
Yeah.
But if they're 10 miles back or 15 miles back, and then there's a small percentage of the people that are going to continue killing the big bulls.
Yeah.
And so that's why I tell my guys, if we just keep getting better at our job, eventually we'll be the only people who could get to those bulls. And I'm good with that.
Got it.
So
is there some projects that are maybe stand out that you're like extra proud that maybe this university is displaying it, that maybe some people that are listening can go and like check it out?
Yeah. So, I mean, University of Georgia football a couple years ago, they built an amazing facility. Then they had a pretty good run with 2 national championships.
No big deal.
Alabama did last year. They were pretty strong. Nebraska, University of Nebraska football went in this past week. You have your multiple. I think it was kind of cool. They rated in the NFL the top. I think the top 4 weight rooms, I believe it was, by the players, and I think we had like 3 or 4 of them out of the top 4. So
Nice.
it was, stuff like that it's neat when you get to be a part of the kind of the winning team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you know that what you're doing has a small impact on success, right? You're like, hey, I'm in no way saying that the players and the coaches couldn't do it without us, but if you made their job a little bit easier, that there was a percentage, I don't know what percentage, but there's a percentage of spin on the ball that we had that helped that person win a gold medal. Or, we had a Ryan Krauser, which is one of our sponsored athletes and a friend of ours. We built his weight room, and he spoke at Summer Strong last year and talked about his, program for success, and literally left Columbia, South Carolina, flew to LA and broke the world record in the shot put by 2 feet. And it was like a 30-year-old world record, and just blew out obviously the biggest throw of all time. And so it's like, yeah, Ryan Krauser did that, but I know we didn't screw him up. Like that's where it's like, okay, cool, we did good work. We did some things. And so that's what's exciting. I love seeing people win.
Right on. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, man.
So, like the casting and the welding, was that all something, a skill that your dad was doing aside from, being a gym teacher? And
Yeah, he taught himself, and his neighbor taught him how to weld and everything like that. So he just started to learn how to do it in our carport.
that's
And,
awesome. Every
also-
good thing starts in some garage, right?
Yep.
some garage.
Yeah,
Goes
some
to
carport
passion.
or something.
A lot of $1 million ideas in the garages.
That's right.
Heck yeah.
That's
I
right.
might have to bounce here in a little bit, guys. I think my stuff is getting very low on battery. I don't want it just to cut out.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Thank you. I guess last question we wanted to bring up a topic. The Global War on Terrorism Memorial Foundation thing. We kind of wanted to brush on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a friend of mine, Mike Rodriguez, strangely enough, I was on the way to SHOT Show, and I was at the luggage area, and we were about to walk in there, and there was a guy that just had a different look in his eye, which is kind of weird to say because he has one eye.
Yeah.
Definitely a
That was
different
a
look.
very unintended pun, but it worked well.
But kind of funny.
And so I went
He's
up
kind
to
of an
him, and
intimidating looking cat, man. Like he
yeah.
resonates something very special about him just in his presence is what I picked up on that guy.
Yes, yeah, he's wired for sound.
That's great.
So I kind of felt that same thing. This is probably a decade ago, and I walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, and as cheesy as it is, like I could just tell, like he'd seen a lot of stuff and he wasn't hiding it, not in a bravado way. I could just tell there was some hurt there, and I was like, "Hey, man, I appreciate everything you've done." And he's kind of like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "No, but appreciate it, man." And he was like, "Oh." And so he gave me like a card. And I was like, he worked at the Green Beret Foundation. I was like, "Oh, cool. Right on." And he's like, "I'm Rod." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Bert. What's up?" And it was like, I think a couple days later at SHOT, we happened to be at the same party. Probably Ron Holmes was there too. And he walked out. I was like, "Hey, I remember you." And it was just weird. Like you're at the Vegas airport and you see a guy that you're like, there's something there with that guy. So we ended up kind of becoming friendly. And over the next few years, we would see each other at different events and just kept running into each other and became friendly. And then, and he started working for this foundation. He became the CEO or the chairman of the Global War on Terror Memorial. And so much like there's a Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, the Global War on Terror is the longest running war in American history. It's the first war that we've ever had, that multi-generational war. So what Rod told me, which is chilling, he said, "I'm sending my son off to patrol the same caves that I patrolled." And that hits you in a way because like even he would tear him up. He's like, there's that, did I not do a good enough job? Why does my kid have to go finish my job? And as a generation, that's a hard one, right? I didn't serve, but I have enough friends that do. I can empathize with the situation, and that would have to be a wild head trip to think that, I would think as a soldier, you're doing it for the freedom and you're sacrificing for the freedom and security of your children. And to think that your children have to go and do the same hard, terrible job that you had to do. There's a lot there. That'd take a while to unpack that one.
In the exact same spot too. In the exact same spot.
Like they could literally give like, hey, watch that hill over there.
Yeah.
Like I remember that hill. There's one over there. Don't go over there, kind of thing. That's an ambush spot. Like that's just freaking wild. And so they wanted to do a memorial, and so they were pushing for it, lobbying for it, and then they got approved, it was great. It took a long time, but then the National Mall, the kind of the registry, like where all the big cool stuff is in DC, was closed. They closed, I think, in 2002. And so they were going to put the GWAT memorial way off campus somewhere that no one ever sees it. And we were like, no, it has to be like prominent. This is the largest war of our, generation. This is a multi war, and it's still going. And that was one of the things, like they never had a memorial that was approved while the war was still going. There was all this red tape. So I feel very proud that we were able to lobby and go to Congress and got it pushed through and got it accepted. And they reopened the mall for this. And then, so we're doing site selections right now. And rolling back. So Rod asked me a couple years ago to be an ambassador for that, and and I was very taken back, and I said I didn't serve. Like that's like everyone else is like dudes that served kind of thing, and he's like, no man, you're serving my community, and I was of course very taken back and agreed to do it, and so it's been very humbling to see that come together and to see. We're not in the home stretch yet, but you're having to get bipartisan support and lobbying and all this other stuff to do something that has really nothing to do with making money or making, specific people, any more advantageous in a position. It's literally to make sure those people that sacrificed and their families sacrificed during those 20 something years that they felt like they didn't do it for nothing. And we, at least as a country, we appreciate that. And at least if nothing else, tip the hat to the sacrifice. And that's a very calloused way to even say that, but you get my point. And so, so we're just trying to raise money for it. And because there's so many people that lives were changed. Obviously all of us remember where we were on September 11th and how much life changed and in many ways we are still fighting the global war on terror. We're doing it constantly. It's still a thing. And, there's multiple reasons for that. I'm not getting into that, but so anyway, we wanted to do something there, and so I feel very, very blessed to even asked to be in the same room as those men and women. So that's kind of the thing about GWAT. But you can check them out on IG and GWOT, Global War on Terror Memorial, and so that's something that you can get involved in, at least support. And if nothing else, even if you don't support or whatever, at least know it's happening. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Washington one day and I have the congressional bill that we got passed framed in my office. And it's pretty wild to think that, kind of had something to do with that. And there's one day we're going to get to do the ribbon cutting of something that'll hopefully be around my great grandkids could check out and know that, this is a thing that happened a long time ago that was terrible, but it was at least remembered. So
yeah, great.
GWAT.
Great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, Bert, thanks for spending all this time with us, and it's getting pretty late probably over there on the East Coast now. Thank you for what you're doing with Winter Strong and with Sorinex and your business, with the things you do with your dad, and the motivation you've passed along to Chad, that's passed along to Brandon, that's now passed along to Jack and myself. And believe me, there's a whole team of Alaskans that are trying to come down there and represent.
Oh, man. That's
right. So be ready for Team AK.
It's funny if the Alaskans are going to come to South Carolina, have Winter or Strong. You guys are built different there, man. Like, much respect for Alaskans. You guys are a different breed, and I need to spend more time in your beautiful state.
Hell yeah, you do.
We'd love to have you
we'd love
here,
to have
man.
you come up for sure.
Yeah.
Anything that we can do to help promote what you guys got going on, just give us the word and we'll put it out there. We got quite the ear of the majority of Alaskans up here in the Northwest area. So thank you for what you're doing and spending your time and your passion.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I appreciate you guys holding the line of capable, hard humans that I think the majority of the United States has forgotten how to be. And in my opinion, you guys are a different breed that has a special romance in my mind and of someone I want to be more like. I mean, I think I was in Homer, Alaska years ago with a friend. And I remember going in the bathroom and I was like, someone's like, hey, did you notice? I think Duncan was with us. He's like, did you notice there's no mirrors in the bathroom? And I was like, really? And I asked someone there, I was like, is that a thing? He's like, yeah, no one cares what you look like in Alaska. That's amazing. And they were like, no, you just have to be capable, like, because you'll die here if you're not capable. And I just remember the beauty of that. And I've talked about it so many times of like, how beautiful of a place is it when it's not your aesthetic appearance, it's your legitimate capability that gives you value. And I was like, gosh, that needs to be capitalized in more places in the world, and you guys have it figured out. And I very much commend you guys just for the community that you guys have, and us down here in the Continental. We're watching, and thank you for being who y'all are.
Well,
Yeah, thanks, Bert.
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We're
For
pretty.
kind words.
We just feel lucky, really.
That's right.
Yeah, we were born. We were just
You
born
are.
into this.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky.
We don't know, but we don't know better.
This is Alaska normal.
Yeah. Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Sorinex.
Yeah,
Thank you,
man.
Alaska. Thank you to all the sponsors
Great
and
work.
people listening. Go ahead and check out Sorinex when you got a minute. Log into the Winter Strong. Check out the Instagram and all that stuff. We appreciate you, Alaska. Thank you for listening. And as always,
Stay wild.
Stay wild.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
the Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of Auralic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and over. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
At least is equal in prowess and act upon the claim. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.